ball a little bit.
Let's go! Junkin to snap. Allen, the holder, has the ball. Throws it up in the air. The ball fell incomplete. No time on the clock.
Now the Giants start their road to redemption.
First play, first series, right down their throat.
With a high-powered offense and a defense with something to prove.
The next step today.
Last season, the defending Super Bowl champions failed to make the playoffs. Now, Tom Brady
Steps up, it's caught. Touchdown, Troy Brown.
and a revamped defense must regain their championship form.
Can only be one.
Roosevelt Colvin, one of the new Patriots, added to the roster to bolster the defense. He had 10.5 sacks each of the last 2 years for the Bears and gets a warm welcome here at Gillette Stadium, where there is always a sellout crowd. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. The Giants' playoff collapse against the 49ers was the reason behind the offseason moves to blow up the kicking game and start over. It was their Achilles heel, and they think they fixed it. The Patriots had some fixing to do, too. Only 2 years removed from their Super Bowl victory, Joe, they knew they needed help on defense, and to their credit, they went out and got it.
Well, they got it in a couple different ways, Mike. They got it through the draft. 4 of their first 5 picks were on the defensive side of the ball. Then they added safety Rodney Harrison and linebacker Roosevelt Colvin. They knew they had to tackle better, and they knew they had to get pressure on the quarterback. Offensively, they've got to put the ball downfield. It's something they've been working on through the training camps. For the Giants, defensively, they've got to keep that front 4 healthy, and they've got to find some depth up front. On offense, this could be one of the most exciting offenses in football, led by Tiki Barber with Kerry Collins, their quarterback, pulling the trigger. But the guy that makes that Giant offense go is number 80, Jeremy Shockey.
And Joe, Jim Fossil really loves his rookie tight end. And Paul, why not? All the kid did as a rookie was make the Pro Bowl.
Well, Michael, he's real big, and he's real strong, and he's real fast, and he's awfully nasty. A year ago as a rookie, he changed the entire identity of this football team. If you're on defense a year ago and you said something derogatory about Shockey, he would seek you out in the course of the ball game with or without the football and try to knock you out. Now, I personally think he's going to be a great tight end, but that's if he doesn't kill himself first.
All right, thank you, Paul. When we come back, Susie Culber with the man who hopes to take a talented team deeper into the playoffs, the Giants head coach, Jim Fossil.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to Gillette Stadium, the Giants and the Patriots. After New York blew a huge lead and lost to the 49ers in the playoffs, Jim Fossil told his players, "I hope the taste of the dirt from 3Com stays in your mouth for a while." Susie, that was supposed to be motivation for them. I think it was for him, too.
I think you're right. Well, the first order of business was to revamp special teams. But what did you and your team learn from that Niner loss?
Well, we needed a guy that can snap it and kick it, and we left ourselves short in that area, and I think we solved it in this offseason, and I think our team knows that we can be better than that, and we can't lose a game like that at the end.
How do things feel different now?
Well, I think this team has a lot of confidence because the obvious problems of last year, I think we've been able to fix in the offseason.
How many ways does Jeremy Shockey impact this team?
Well, a lot. Personality is one thing, but his talent, and he's kind of the missing link we had to have a guy inside as a receiver that can free up our outside guys. But I love his personality and the way he plays.
What's the biggest battle we should be watching for tonight on your team?
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting. They got a couple of rookie corners. I think they're going to try to help them a little bit. And then I think I want to see our defensive line try to get some pressure on a quarterback.
Thanks, Coach. Have fun tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, Susie, we are ready to go. The Pats will kick off, and we will get a quick look at the newest Giant weapon in special teams, and that is one of the best that ever played the game, Brian Mitchell, who averaged 27 yards a return last year. He is working his way through the NFCs. He has played for the Redskins, the Eagles, and now the Giants, and he said he is far from done.
The 14th year in this league, 14th year, and he has his best year as a kick returner. That ought to tell you just how valuable he is.
He is something special, and there is Adam Vinatieri teed up at the 30-yard line. Mitchell is back with Delvin Joyce. And Brian Mitchell from the 7. Eludes the first tackler, dives ahead to the 29-yard line. And Kerry Collins leads out the offense, set franchise records last year with 4,073 yards. That was #1 in the NFC, and threw 61.5% completions, 335 completions, all of those career highs. Tiki Barber is the single setback. Collins to throw on first down. Plenty of time and overthrows intended for Amani Toomer.
Jim McNally, the offensive line coach, had a real project last year and a whole bunch of new guys coming in play. And this year it's sort of limited down to the right side of his offensive line. David Deal, 66. Ian Allen in his second year, number 74. Guys that they really think have a chance to help this offensive line out. It was a question mark. It wound up playing very well at the end of the season.
They lost both their right guard and right tackle to free agency. Barber, the multi-purpose back, tries to go around the left side, lost the football. That has been a bugaboo for Tiki Barber his entire career. Roosevelt Coleman knocked it loose. Teddy Johnson recovered.
Well, you know, we heard that Tiki was not going to start because he had the flu, but that doesn't, you know, stop him from fumbling the football. Tiki Barber, instead of running to the hole, watch him. He'll slow down and turn up inside. Then the ball comes out. That's just lack of concentration as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was a good hit, but it's lack of concentration.
He runs right into Bobby Hamilton and the ball slips away. Sometimes as a veteran, you need a little bit of a wake-up call. Tiki had a tremendous season last year, and this is really what the Patriots want to try and do on the defensive side of the ball. Create short fields again for its offense.
Brady sets up shop with Kevin Falk as the deep back. And Brady wants to throw under a blitz. He lost the ball. And they're going to say he was down. Brandon Short came straight up the middle.
You know, this is the first preseason game for these two teams.
Yeah.
But you got to know who's in front of you, man. You know, this is not the Donkeys that are playing. This is the first group. And these are out there playing.
And they're going to play a while, too. This isn't just go in and play 5 or 6, 7 plays like, you know, the Jets did and what Tampa wanted to do. These guys are going to play the whole quarter.
A loss of 7. And straight up the middle, the running play works very well to Kevin Falk, who is trying to win the starting job from Antoine Smith. He gained 13 yards before Omar Stoutmeyer brought him down.
Well, Kevin Falk is taking most of the snaps with the starting offense, especially in the last, week, Joe? And they think that this guy is going to be the guy that unseats Antoine Smith, who's standing at number 32.
He had been the third down back, and now they face 3rd and 4. Brady to throw over the middle to the end zone. Brown, touchdown. 16 yards to Troy Brown for the score.
How many times have you said that? Brady to Brown.
A lot.
97 times last year they hooked up.
That was too easy.
You know,
I mean, you talk about, there was a guy within 5 yards of him.
And this is where really I think New England runs into that what do we do type of an offense. We're very capable of throwing the ball down the field, as you can see with the touchdown, but they want to try and build it around a running game.
That 16 yards last year would have qualified as a big play for New England. Troy Brown caught 97 passes, but only averaged 9.2 yards a catch. Vinatieri for the point after, and as a result of the turnover. The Patriots jump on top 7-0 here at home. We've only played a minute 24. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by Miller Lite. Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time. MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Isuzu. Spend less, go farther with a full line of value price SUVs from Isuzu. And K-Swiss. The picturesque village of Foxborough, sandwiched between Boston, Massachusetts and Providence, Rhode Island. And they are happy here because their Pats are on top early. Brian Mitchell this time from just inside the 10-yard line. Has such great vision and gets it out to the 27.
You know, in Tiki Barber's defense, not that I would ever defend a fumble by anybody, but you've been practicing against your own guys, and yeah, you go through scrimmages and you go through hitting, but it's so different when you step on a field. I mean, it's different in preseason, then it goes up a notch in regular season, then it goes up another notch in the playoffs. And that's the first time that he got notched in the preseason.
Well, I'll tell you what, and it got his attention, I can assure you that.
Stackhouse is in at fullback. Tiki Barber behind him. Play action by Collins. Great pocket passer. This one is a little too high for Amani Toomer. Kerry Collins, in spite of his early problems in the NFL after leading Carolina to the playoffs in his second year, has developed into a tremendous pocket passer. His career numbers really don't show you how well he is playing now. He has become one of the premier players in this league.
And they said he came into camp throwing the ball just as well as he did at the end of the year last year.
And he has more weapons, especially with an healthy Ike Hilliard. Barber gang tackled. Still on his feet, fighting, and Bobby Hamilton led the charge for New England.
And really, with Kerry Collins' ability, his height, first of all, gives him an advantage to look down the field. I never wanted to concede that before, but I think if you're 6'5", you can look at the middle of the field a little bit easier as you stand in the pocket. He's not going to run away from anybody. He was laughing last night. He said, where am I going to go? I mean, I have nowhere to go. I'm just going to be back here. But you'll notice the Giants really try and get big plays. They led the league last year, both in running and passing, in plays over 20 yards. You've seen a couple of the early passes by the Giants try and go 20, 15, 20 yards down the field.
And this is obviously not your father's New York Giants. This is a very good offensive football team. Collins under pressure, throws. Toomer, did he make the catch? If so, it was spectacular, and he did. 19-yard gain and a first down.
Well, he did, but I'll tell you, Collins took a shot from Seymour. Richard Seymour drops him in the backfield, and the pass is absolutely, I think it's perfect because it gives Toomer a chance to come back to the ball. Here's where Collins, now watch this. After he throws, he gets hammered, and that's all legal. Not head-to-head, just a good play.
And the New England Patriots, too, have changed their philosophy a little bit. They've gone more to a 3-4 style of defense, which goes back a couple years ago for them.
From the 49, first down, Collins to throw again. This one's underneath and dropped by Ike Hilliard. Let's check in with Susie.
Toomer had that big catch just a moment ago, and everyone's been talking about the tremendous chemistry between he and Collins. Well, Kerry put it to the test a couple of days ago in practice. He said to Toomer, let's try something, just like Dan Fouts and Charlie Joyner used to do. Run a square out. I'll hit you with my eyes closed. And sure enough, Kerry dropped back, closed his eyes, hit Toomer right in the hands.
You know, Susie, that'd be a great way not to worry about the rush. Just throw with your eyes closed.
I did that.
Flag is down.
I did that in practice once.
Did you?
Threw it out of the entire stadium. Threw it right over the fence at our practice field. Yeah. And then I decided I was no longer trying it. Mark just stood there and looked at me.
Pass interference. 38. Defense. Automatic first down.
Bill Carollo calling the penalty on Tyrone Poole, the unrestricted free agent from Denver, who will see a lot of action as the third corner.
And the kid had caught the ball. Joe chased him out of the stadium and got the ball back.
Yeah, went just right in the stands. I wonder if he ever did that.
So one thing that Joe did mention about the Giants is they are really looking to do something on the right side of their offensive line.
Barber hit in the backfield. Mike Vrabel crashing in from his outside linebacker spot. And when this team plays in the 3-4, it is emphasizing their strength with all those linebackers. But Bill Belichick, you can't pigeonhole him. 4-3, 3-4. Last year, at one point, he played in 06.
And you'll see him come from the left side of the screen. 74, Ian Allen tries to go out and block him and just can't. Ian Allen is not quick enough. Now, we talked about it, and you mentioned it, Paul. That right side of the line, the right tackle, the right guard, are going to be Jim McNally's major project, the offensive line coach this year.
2nd and 14. Haven't thrown it to Shockey yet until now. And Shockey makes his first catch of the night, covered up by one of the new Patriots, Rodney Harrison.
Keep one thing in mind, guys. These two teams will play in week 6 during the regular season, so you're going to see a lot of vanilla out of everybody in this one. You want to get the work in, you want to get it on film, but you're not going to show them anything that you might be thinking about during the regular season.
Wasn't it interesting what Rodney Harrison said about Shockey? He thinks he's the best tight end in the game today.
And he was looking forward to playing against him. That's what great players do. They want to face the best. 3rd and 7. Collins to the shotgun. Pressure coming. And Kerry Collins is down at the 45-yard line. Teddy Bruschi out of Arizona now in his 8th year shot throw.
Well, I don't care how good a quarterback you are and how well you can throw the football. If you don't have time, you can't throw it. I mean, when he turned to throw, Bruschi was there.
That was an Olay by Ian Allen. Now, was that a miscommunication because of the setup of the linebacker in the ends, or did this kid just flat miss him? So far, we've played a half of a quarter, and the kid's had a miserable night. 5 minutes into the quarter.
Jeff Fiegels, the new punter. The veteran out of Miami now in his 16th year in the league. And Tyrone Poole waits at his 12 for the punt. Poole comes up to the 16. Cuts it outside, taken out of bounds past the 25, a return of 10 after a punt of 38 yards from Fiegels. We've got a timeout on the field. New England leading the Giants 7-0. Welcome back to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, where the Pats lead the Giants 7-0. New York takes over at its own 29-yard line, 1st and 10. The only score in this game so far, the result of a New England turnover. The Giants turnover, New England capitalized. And a light rain falling here. 3 tight end alignment. And Antoine Smith, the running back. And Smith stacked up at the line of scrimmage. We asked Tom Brady how training camp differed for him this season from the previous year.
I'm much more comfortable in, who I am and my role on the team and, what we're trying to accomplish. And I think a lot of times after you come off such a successful season, you can kind of fall back on maybe an excuse of, oh, we'll figure it out. We already know what to do. We've already proved it. And now it's coming off a season where we're 9-7. You don't make the playoffs. And there's kind of a bitter taste in your mouth. And, we're trying to get back to winning football games and playing smart and playing consistent and playing tough.
Individually, Tom Brady probably had a better year last season than he did when he went to the Pro Bowl and was the Super Bowl MVP, but it didn't show up in the win-loss column.
Well, he wouldn't. I think he was hurt a little bit. I think they had trouble running the football, and you're going to see quarterback numbers reflect how well people run the football. I mean, he may have thrown a lot of passes, but the success, as you talked about, Mike, were 9-yard completions.
It's in the 3rd and long situation here. Now changing the play. Blitz coming. Brady steps up. But a nice job just to get rid of that. The flag comes down for interference. I flag Omar Stoudemire for Larry Centers coming out of the backfield.
I think they may wave this one off because the ball was uncatchable. You should get the over-the-head signal. That ball was nowhere near the receiver.
Unless he's holding him. If he's holding.
Pass interference, 23, defense.
No, I agree with you, Joe. That ball's out. That ball, no one can catch this.
What a terrific job, though, by Tom Brady. Here comes the free runner. He steps up, doesn't try and run, gathers himself, makes the throw. Now, that ball is nowhere near anybody. Stoudemire made contact. but the ball's nowhere near anybody.
It's always the question, if the contact doesn't occur, will the guy be able to get there? And I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt if contact does occur.
Really?
I hate to be the one to disagree. I enjoy it when you two do it. Little flanker screen out to David Givens.
What you just saw Tom Brady do in avoiding the rush, he's done so well, even though he's young. Here's a route that's set up last year, designed to go up top. He sets up, looks to the receiver up top. That's his throwing lane. Now feels the pressure, again, coming from almost the identical situation we just saw. Up off his left shoulder, here comes the pressure, steps up, rolls around, then fires the ball with that little white light right down in the middle of the football.
Well, that's why you catch it, because you can follow the white light till the ball comes in. Yeah.
Antoine Smith pulls his way across the 50.
Paul,
near the 48-yard line.
You brought up, you talked about Kevin Falk being a full-time back and working with the first team. I think that Antoine Smith has to have a good year for this offense to be successful. I think that Kevin Falk, at 5'8" and 202 pounds, just can't handle the full load. I really believe that Antoine's going to have to be the guy that they're going to count on for 700, 800, 900 yards like they did last year. Maybe give Kevin a little bit more work to do, because he can make special plays, but I think Antoine's got to have a good preseason.
2 years ago, he rushed for over 1,100 yards. That time, he didn't have an opportunity. The center of the line pushed back, and the Giants swarmed him under.
You know, you wonder about the last time in the beginning of this other drive before the pass interference, Antoine Smith ran the ball twice and didn't gain. I gained a half a yard. And when you look at, you say, well, why are they doing that? Well, one of the reasons, they want to see these guys block up front one-on-one and see who can and who cannot block. I mean, you're not in a game situation, you may run play action, you may do other things, but in a situation like that, they wanted to see these guys head up, try to block somebody, and they didn't do it.
You saw Michael Strahan on the sideline. He's not playing tonight because of a broken small toe.
Oh, poor little pinky toe.
Well, he said if it was the regular season, he'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
Ken Walter kicking to Brian Mitchell. And this is the other benefit of having Mitchell. Tiki Barber will not have to do the punt return duties and make him fresher as a running back. 38-yard kick, no return. Timeout on the field, still 7-0 New England. Just some of the fans on hand here at Gillette Stadium in the huge concourse area in this facility, built by Robert Kraft, used $325 million of his own money. It's almost unheard of these days, and he did a great job with it.
It's just a magnificent stadium. You got a little touch of New England in one of the corners with the rocks and the bridges and everything else.
Tiki Barber stays in at running back and dives across the 15 to about the 16-yard line.
Offensively, the Giants really turned it around. They went through the first 7 games, you see, they averaged 12 points a game. Through the last 9, 25.7. Touchdowns is really where it changed. When Jim Fossil made the change from Sean Payton to him becoming the offensive coordinator, it wasn't that Sean wasn't doing a good job, but after all, it's Jim's football team, and he felt like he had to do something drastic to impact this football team. He took it over on an interim basis last year. Early into the season, he said, I'm going to be the guy from now on, and I really think he enjoys it.
Nice move by Tiki Barber to cut it outside, but a solid tackle by the rookie Eugene Wilson out of Illinois. He has had a great camp for this club.
But, you know, the one thing about Fossil, though, just to continue it a little bit, is when he took over as the offensive coordinator, knowing it's his team, if they're going to lose and they're going to do things wrong, then he's accepting the blame. He said, I don't want to look at someone else and say, okay, we didn't like what you did here. It's all him. And I like that in the head coach, and the guys respect it.
3rd and 3.
New England had to take a timeout because nobody covered Shockey.
It's a good reason to take a timeout. We'll be back to check out who covers him this time. Patriots on top of the Giants 7-0. Our NFL preseason special from Foxborough.
Raining a little bit, but it's a warm rain. It's not snowy.
I'll tell you, the man needs a nap. The guy needs a nap.
We all need a nap.
I think he's still in Tokyo.
Most of us are still thinking of sushi and Japan. we have not become reacclimated to the United States. At least I haven't.
At least Jim Fossil has on offense. I think, I mean, the other thing about him is he really feels like he has the players in position and has speed on offense for the first time.
Collins on 3rd and 3 goes underneath to Hilliard. Flag is down. It's a first down. Hilliard was being covered by the rookie Eugene Wilson, who has good man-to-man cover skills.
Eugene Wilson is playing for Ty Law tonight, and they really like both of their young corners. They like Asante Samuels, number 22, as well as Eugene Wilson, and he gets a call against the Giants.
Well, Toomer pushes off, and you know, you wonder why he went down, or is it like Hilliard to push it off? And you wonder why the defensive man goes down. Well, because you're pushed down to the ground. But when you look at the Patriots defense, they, you know, Belichick says, boy, is everybody making a big deal out of the 3-4, the 4-3, 3-4. What if I put somebody's hand down, it's a 4-3.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, if you're 31st against the rush, people are going to make a big deal about the job your defense does. And that's the thing. Now, the addition of a Rodney Harrison, Jones has moved on, but when you think of a Rodney Harrison coming in, now you have two safeties that like to play close to the line of scrimmage, and it should be more difficult to run the football against them. I personally think they just did a lousy job of tackling last year.
3rd and 12 after the penalty. Collins with time and throws. It's intercepted. Tyrone Poole. That's the other guy they brought in to play corner. And Tyrone Poole back to the 10.
Mike, they tried to go to Shockey, and this one here by Collins was forced in, but it looked like the ball kind of slipped out of his hand. Roosevelt Colvin gets some pressure, but I don't know if number 51 on the outside and Brewski's 54. Look at this. Colvin is putting some pressure on, but that ball looked like it was either tip coming out. Watch this thing waggle, Joe.
No, you see what happens? He's late. He's one pump late getting rid of the football. You cannot be late throwing the football over the middle of the field, or everyone's going to get picked off.
Kevin Falk. The single setback as the Patriots take over at the 10. Falk gets the carry and just gets back to the line as Dhani Jones had him around the ankles.
This is not the way Kerry Collins envisioned the first preseason game. I think back to last week when we did the Jets in Tampa Bay. Brad Johnson came out, moved him down the field. Chad Pennington told us he wanted a 10-play drive, got the 10 plays and the touchdown. Kerry Collins in that Giant offense has struggled a bit. I guess.
Larry Centers, number 31, is in, along with Falk in the backfield. Brady goes to the end zone, and it looked like his receiver, Givens, was held up over the middle. Bumped pretty good on his route and couldn't get to where Brady thought he would be.
Well, this is one of the things that Belichick wants to work on, and that's their goal line and short yardage plays. And I'll tell you, in the red zone a year ago, that ain't good.
Under 50%.
Isn't that a function of not being able to run the football when they know you have to throw? You're in trouble.
I've always believed that if you run the football in the red zone, you're going to have a high percentage of touchdowns.
Brady, little bootleg, throws underneath. That's a guy they've got a lot of hope for. Daniel Graham, the second-year tight end out of Colorado, said he is more comfortable and confident with the offense this year, and he would give them a nice 1-2 punch with Christian Fourier.
And Daniel Graham was the 2001 Mackey Award winner over Jeremy Shockey as the best tight end in college football. He really struggled last year trying to find out where he fit into the offense. Now everybody says he can run his routes and work the passing game.
Vinatieri will come on to try from 25 yards. And Vinatieri connects. New England extends its lead 10-0 courtesy of the interception by Tyrone Poole. So a pair of turnovers have led to both New England scores. First quarter and Patriots lead at 10-0 over the Giants. Hope you'll join us for a full night of football on Monday on ESPN, starting at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. Then at 8 Eastern, the preseason continues as Donovan McNabb and the Eagles head to New Orleans to battle Aaron Brooks and the Saints.
I'm heading to New Orleans. Pascal's Benelli, barbecued shrimp. Best in the world.
Clancy's.
No.
Oh, great. Well, Clancy's a great
just
restaurant.
give me the name or not?
Don't forget
I'll give you another one.
Don't forget the supermarket opening in Shreveport on Saturday.
Are you doing 2 hours in?
Yep. Tim Carter deep to return this time for the Giants. Great speed. Cuts it outside. Carter shakes it, tackling out of bounds at the 45. Let's go to Susie.
Well, Michael Strahan is sitting this one out with a broken little toe. We don't have an issue with toughness here, do we, Michael?
No, not at all. Trust me, if I had to, I could be out here playing today, but Coach Fossil felt it was in the best interest. Kind of let it heal a little bit, and I'll be back hopefully next week.
Defensive leader, acting coach. Give us the assessment of the defense so far.
Well, you know, our first series on third down, our execution wasn't too good. Our coverage wasn't too good. But outside of that, I think the guys have done well. We've been in some situations where we had to respond, and I think the guys have done great.
For the Giants, it's always been about the defense. Just how much has the offense closed that gap?
Oh, they give us a run for our money now. So I think our offense is phenomenal and something I've waited for all my career. So to have a great offense on top of a great defense gives us a better chance to win. And hopefully we'll be one of those teams that's vying for that Super Bowl at the end of the season.
You know, it's tough for a coach to keep a team's ear, especially for 7 years Jim Fossil has been here. What is it about him?
He has some Clinton-esque type quality. You know, he has a way of saying the right things at the right times. And you buy into what he's preaching because what he's telling you is going to make you and bring you to the promised land.
Michael, thanks.
Thank you.
I guess he means he's a great salesman, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, it's amazing after all of these years, and you still buy into a coach. I mean, the young guys have to. But the veterans, when you control the veterans like Fossil does, and they buy into everything that he's saying, they really and truly believe that they're going to do it right.
Well, the Giants just got a 1-yard screen pass out of Tiki Barber and then a run for nothing. So they face 3rd and 9. Tiki Barber's already carried the ball 6 times. He has 2 yards, and there is the all-pro tight end Jeremy Shockey to the right side on 3rd and long for Kerry Collins. 4-man rush. Vrabel with pressure. Hilliard over the middle. He's down to the Patriots 43-yard line. That will be a first down. Hilliard last year only 27 catches, 386 yards, but he was injured. This year, when they go to 3 wide receiver sets, they intend to move him into the slot. They think he'll be very effective in it.
Well, what they did on that play there, he just came in behind Shockey. 3 guys covered Shockey. 1 guy covered Hilliard. He makes the catch for the first down.
So Jeremy Shockey's catches could even go down this year, but he could be a more effective part of that offense doing the same thing you just talked about, Paul.
Barber. And there is Harrison. I think that is a tremendous pickup for New England. Rodney Harrison, the longtime player in San Diego, made the Pro Bowl a couple of times. With he and Lawyer Malloy at the safeties, nobody in their right mind is going to want to go over the middle.
Well, the one thing about that play there, Rodney Harrison, what he does and Lawyer Malloy do very well is when they come to the line of scrimmage where they like to play, they break down. I mean, they don't sacrifice themselves. They get themselves in a football position to make a play. And that's exactly what he did on that play.
Harrison played almost all year last year with San Diego with a terrible groin injury. The muscle, part of it was torn off the bone. He was supposed to be out 8 weeks or have surgery, came back in 2 and limped through the rest of the season and was really upset with the way he was treated out there. There's a flag down. And we'll check the penalty.
I think it looked like, holding on Luke. No, it's against. Boy, I'll tell you what. Now, that's one of the more difficult calls to make. Wait a minute.
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the face. Number 93. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Richard Seymour, the defensive end.
That's why the Patriot defense brought in a Tyrone Poole and a Rodney Harrison and a Roosevelt Colvin. 31st in yards rushing. Red zone 30th. 3rd down conversions 26th.
And the guys you're talking about, Joe, are playmakers, and that's what they didn't get a lot of last year.
They're not, but Colvin is a guy who can blow things up in the passing game. Harrison, I think, is an excellent tackler, and that's really where they really found down in the secondary last year.
Kerry Collins underneath Stackhouse with his first grab of the night near the 21-yard line. Still shy of a first down.
But one other thing about Rodney before we go to the end of the quarter, he loves to play up near the line of scrimmage. He really doesn't like to be deep. He can cover, but he doesn't like it.
And he loves to whack people. That's the end of the first quarter from New England, where it's been all Patriots. They have taken advantage of 2 turnovers to take a 10-0 lead. 10-0 Pats as we start the second quarter. You can experience football like never before in high definition on ESPN HD. College football Saturday primetime, Sunday night football, Monday night football on ABC HD. And starting Tuesday, August 26th, ESPN's new original dramatic series, Playmakers, in high definition. The best football 4 nights in a row in high definition. ESPN HD now available nationwide. Trust me, you have never seen anything quite like it.
And I want to see the Playmakers. I mean, the promos look absolutely great. You get a chance to see what life is like away from the field as well as on it in pro ball.
Giants facing a 2nd and 2. Ron Dane is the running back. And this could be a real watershed year for Ron Dane in his 4th year out of Wisconsin. The former #1 draft choice, who was such a brilliant college running back, has really not shown that kind of talent in the pros.
And Jim Fossil takes a little bit of credit, not necessarily credit, but, you know, responsibility for that. He basically pigeonholed Ron Dane a little bit. He said, you're going to run this play, you're going to run that play, we're going to let Tiki run this and Tiki run that. What he's done now is he's told Ron Dane, I'm not putting you in any particular situation. You're going to run the same stuff Tiki does, and it's up to you to go out and get it done.
Collins under pressure, and down he goes again. Seymour, the Pro Bowler, as a second-year player, came in from the right defensive end to make the tackle.
I'll tell you why. He had absolutely no place to throw the football. Every single one of the Giants downfield. Look at this. We're all covered. He had no place to go. And Pettigrew, that comes off the side of the field on that line where they're the strongest on the left side, and they're not blocking over there either.
5-step drops are great when you have a place to go with the football, but you're awfully close to the defensive line if you're not.
2nd now and long for the Giants. From the Patriots 25. Dane on the draw. Down to the 20.
Jim McNally, the offensive line coach of the New York Giants, did a wonderful job with a group of, really, I guess you'd call them just guys last year. Luke Pettigrew came in. Rich Schubert, they think is going to be a heck of a guard. Bober at the center position. It could be Tam Hopkins or David Deal at the right guard position. And from what I've seen tonight, Ian Allen at the right tackle spot. Got a little bit of growing and work to do.
3rd and 12 for New York, trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time. Patriots show a 4-man front and come with 4. Collins underneath to Dane. Room to run, but cut down. Nice tackle by Samuel. Asante, the 2nd of the first-round draft choices the club had this year. They're very high on both of their rookie corners, and they've got some pretty good guys in there to start with. Ty Law and Otis Smith, who never seems to get old.
Asante Samuel played at Central Florida, where Mike Krusick is the head coach down there, played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he shows his Super Bowl ring to all the guys all the time. This is a kid that gets his hands on the ball a lot. He has 7 interceptions through training camp so far.
Mike Hollis, the former Pro Bowler and potentially the new place kicker, on for the field goal try of 29 yards. He hits it. Matt Bryant is the only holdover. He is the other place kicker on the roster, trying to hold a job. The Giants hope they'll be better on teams. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by McDonald's. The Reebok Classic Clip, available only at Foot Locker. Madden NFL 2004 and EA Sports with exclusive playmaker control, and State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Well, we have seafood just like Japan, except over here they cook it most of the time.
He's looking at you, Paul.
Little New England lobster for you.
I love lobster.
That lobster. He's eyeing you, Paul. Got that one eye on you.
Love it.
Matt Bryant will kick it away. He has, over the years, done a better job of kickoffs than Hollis getting the ball deep. And does this time to the speedster Bethel Johnson. And the rookie runs into a pile across the 25 to the 26-yard line where Johnny Harris makes the tackle. Saturday, 2 teams qualify to go to Williamsport when ESPN brings you a Little League World Series regional doubleheader at 6 Eastern, the Southeast Regional from St. Petersburg, Florida. Then at 8 Eastern, the Great Lakes Regional Final from Indianapolis, Indiana. What a thrill for those kids.
Hear that ball being knocked out?
And there's always some kid who's 12 years old and 6'5".
Well,
you know,
yeah.
his team wins.
They say 12 years old, but he's actually 35 years old.
That's right.
They scratch out the 3.
Damon Heward has come in at quarterback in relief of Tom Brady, and the veteran backup floats his first pass out there beautifully to tight end Christian Fourier. They played together in Seattle.
And Damon Heward is in a battle for really the backup position with Rohan Davey, who's only in his 2nd year. Nice job of play action. There's the fake. This is a terrific throw. A little bit of touch up over the linebacker. Dump it right in and let him run.
What you see David Givens, look, here goes Fourier across, but look at number 87, Givens. Watch him turn. Now he's upfield blocking. Boy, that's hustle by a wide receiver.
Fourier was a real big threat in the red zone last year, had 7 touchdown catches. Heward back to throw again, another completion, this one down to the 28-yard line to David Givens. So Heward comes out throwing.
How about you put the backup quarterback in and they, you know, we're going to run the ball. I'm throwing.
Light it up.
I'm throwing.
Bill Belichick was talking about the guys that have to step up. Obviously, Damon Heward had himself an excellent year, but David Givens, the 2nd-year guy, Daniel Graham, 2nd-year player. These are guys that they're counting on to make that big jump from the 1st year into now their 2nd.
Larry Centers, one of the running backs now, and Heward looking for a screen. It's not there. And all they can do is throw it away. Nice job by the Giants to just get in the middle of that screen and not allow the play.
They just would not allow Larry Centers to get outside. They read the screen perfectly. I like the play calling. It comes in. Heward hits 3 passes, but this screen just did not work. They were looking the whole way at Larry Centers. He had no chance.
The premier pass receiver for running backs in the history of the NFL. 808 catches. He has been outstanding wherever he has played. Just amazing that he moves around. Smith cuts it outside, uses his stiff arm to get more. For more on Larry Centers, here's Susie.
Mike, it's just so difficult to figure out what's going on with Larry Centers. He was always known for bringing that winning attitude to losing teams, but I guess he's just been disrespected too many times, and we found that his demeanor was different this time around. We've all spent a lot of time with him with each of the teams he's been with, but this time it just seems like he was knocked off one too many teams. He loves the game, he says, but he hates the system. In 14 years, he hasn't gotten close to winning a championship.
Seemed very discouraged the other day, didn't he? This pass, Heward throws too high, intended for Dedrick Ward.
You know, what he's talking about the system is the system of free agency. What happens is veteran players become too expensive for teams to keep. Now, the league has changed it a little bit, and they allow only a certain amount to go against the cap numbers of veteran players. But I think he's more a product of system changes by coaches. Marty Schottenheimer got rid of him in Washington because he didn't fit into the system. Kevin Gilbride let him go in Buffalo, which is the last move he's made, because it didn't fit into the system. I believe he can be a big asset to Tom Brady here with the New England Patriots.
He's just about the most reliable guy you have ever seen, and Vinatieri connects on a 39-yarder. And the Patriots get back their 10-point advantage over the Giants. 13-3 Patriots, 2nd quarter. They lead the Giants, and Vinatieri set to kick off to Carter and Jones, who wait inside the 5. This is Delvin Joyce from the 1. Nice seam up the middle. Samuel waiting for him as he crosses the 30 and makes the tackle. Got another timeout on the field. 10-16 to go in the half of a 10-point game. Sellout crowd here in New England, as they always have at Gillette Stadium. And they are seeing their Patriots win at 13-3 so far over the Giants. New York starts from its own 33-yard line. Ron Dayne, the running back. Dayne gets the handoff and hit and dropped in the backfield. If you're just joining us, the Patriots defense has come up big early. A lot of pressure on Kerry Collins, Vrabel and Seymour on that rush. Then Teddy Bruschi comes straight up the middle, and then Seymour again. And Collins had a tough first quarter. And if there is anybody who can tweak a defense like Bill Belichick, it's tough to find. This guy has such a brilliant reputation for being able to take guys and work his magic. We talked earlier, they talked about going to the 3-4, whether it's that or the 4-3 or when he played the 0-6 last year. He finds a way to get it done.
Mike, and the secret to this defense, or any defense, whether it's the 3-4, 4-3, I don't care what you throw out, if those defensive linemen don't penetrate and get off the ball, then the defense doesn't work.
The only other element also is the fact that his linebackers have all been defensive linemen in college, so there's great versatility in that front seven. They can put their hands down, they can play out in space, so he has a lot of opportunity to do different things with it.
3rd and 2 for Ron Dayne, absolutely nothing doing. Ty Warren was in there, along with Dan Klecko, the rookie.
You know, Ty Warren is their #1 draft pick, and the first play, he's the guy that made the stop in the backfield. You know, when you get a guy like this young, and you got a defense as experienced as they are, and if they can plug this guy in, Joe, what a big difference he's making in rotation.
Well, this defense has really gotten old. And that's why you see the young corners, I mean, the acquisitions of the free agents plug the holes now. But they went out in Ty Warren and both the young corners, Wilson and Samuels. They will now be the foundation as this team goes forward.
Tyrone Poole to return the kick, dances down the sideline and taken out of bounds near the 18-yard line. A 6-yard return after a 46-yard kick. Timeout on the field, 13-3 New England. Welcome back to a very nice August evening in New England, where it's 13-3, Patriots over the Giants.
Hey, Mike, it's raining.
It's a nice warm rain,
okay,
as you said earlier.
It's not raining now, though.
Patriots football at their own 18, already leading 13-3, and Damon Heward, the 7-year veteran out of Washington, quarterbacking the club. Kevin Falk, his running back, and Falk will get the carry. Let's go down to Susie.
Well, in Kerry Collins' 9th year, he says this is the most comfortable he's ever been with the receiving corps. How did that translate into game action tonight?
Well, we've got a lot of work to do, and we know that. We knew that coming in, but you know, we've got some guys that have been around here for a while, and I feel very comfortable with. So we're excited about the possibilities, but we got a long way to go.
3 receivers who can go deep, but what have Jeremy Shockey and Tiki Barber done for the all-around game?
Well, they give us that threat in the middle. You know, we got size and speed in the middle, and with Jeremy coming off the line and Tiki out of the backfield, you know, we got 2 guys that people need to worry about. So hopefully we can keep defenses off balance. I think that's what we're trying to do.
What is it about input into the game plan that's made things so comfortable for you guys this year?
Well, as a player, to know that the coach trusts you and trusts what you think and what you want to do, you know, it gives you a lot of confidence. It allows you to get into the game and to know that your coach is believing in you and can do the job. So, you know, we love what Jim's doing with us. I mean, we really have all responded to it.
Everybody's talking about the chemistry between you and Amani Toomer. How'd you put that to the test?
Well, yeah, you know, Amani and I have played together for 4 years now. It's going on our 5th year, and when you play with someone that long, you just get to know each other. And Amani Toomer's made great strides and has really turned into a top-notch receiver in this league, and maybe the best.
Have a great season.
Thanks, appreciate it.
We can all remember the pictures, Susie, of Kerry Collins when he had those serious alcohol problems and how he was on the verge of running himself out of a career in pro football. There aren't many people who have made the kind of turnaround in their personal lives that he has, and it's benefited his professional life to the nth degree. He is now a leader on one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. Delvin Joyce back to take the punt. Stutter step, makes a nice break across the 40 to the 42. Return of 8 after a punt of 40. And career years for Collins, Toomer, and Barber, and the Giants front office and the coaching staff will tell you a lot of the credit has got to go to the guy who's not on that screen. That's the rookie tight end Jeremy Shockey, because he changed everything.
I promise you, people are sitting out there going, oh, for crying out loud, you're giving this young kid so much credit. How important can he be? Jim Fossil talked about the tight ends. It's the first time he's really had a tight end, and he said with the tight end, it gives you an opportunity to be able to do everything you want to do in your offense. You can stretch the field, you can get the matchups you want, you can work the middle of the field. The other thing that doesn't show up on that graphic is the kids become a terrific blocker and can help in the running game.
Jesse Palmer trying to throw downfield for Jones, but Chatham was right in the way and knocked it down. There's a flag back at the 35.
This is what I was talking about. Jeremy Shockey is a very good receiver, but this is where he's put on a little bit of weight. You see him blocking on Seymour. Now he comes down on Lawyer Malloy, fighting up top of the screen. There you see him losing his helmet. I mean, that's, you know, block without a helmet. That's the way he likes to play.
Does anybody play harder than that kid?
There are a lot of guys that play hard, but I mean, his emotion, it carries over. There's an energy that he brings to this football team. And I'll tell you, the Giants offensively needed it bad.
Well, you know, Ernie Accorsi, I was talking to him, the general manager, and I talked to him the other night. He was talking about Shockey, and he said the other day at practice, he dropped a pass. And he threw his helmet down so hard that all the innards came out of the helmet. And everybody, I mean, the whole thing stopped because they thought he was mad at somebody else. But the only person he was mad at is himself. He just hates, even in practice, to drop a ball.
Palmer dumps it off to Dane. Ron Dane with a lot of room to run. Lowers his shoulder and gets down to the New England 44. 25-yard gain and a first down.
One other thing about Kerry Collins, if I may. When he came into the meeting, have you ever seen him as calm as he is now and more relaxed and more confident about a football team than he is now? I'm telling you, this guy is just, he loves what he's doing. He loves what Fossil has done with him and how he's used him and really taken some of his advice. He's okay.
And he should be very, very proud of himself as well.
You bet.
Palmer sits in the pocket and throws over the middle. His tight end Marcellus Rivers. Gain of 22.
You know, Joe was talking about Shockey as a receiver downfield to open up the defense. What Fossil said, I never had a pass-catching tight end when I was here. He said, now I've got 4 of them, and here's another one.
And a guy like Jesse Palmer can benefit from just working with a Jeremy Shockey. Jesse Palmer, I mean, even though Kerry Collins has been a war horse and has played every game, you're never quite sure when your first quarterback's going to go down. And can he play? This is a big year for Jesse Palmer. He's in his 3rd year. Now he's got to step up and prove he knows and can master the offense.
He has never thrown a pass during the regular season. This one's over the middle for a couple and a solid tackle again by Asante Samuel.
I like Asante Samuel. I really do. I watched him practice. He's real smooth out of his breaks, got great feet, nice hips. We talked about it. You know, he's a 4th-round pick. Eugene Wilson, a 2nd-round pick, one out of Illinois. Samuels, of course, out of Central Florida. You know they throw the football down there.
5'10", 185, has very good coverage skills. And, Joe, you mentioned that this New England defense is getting older, but in one way that is very good for Bill Belichick because he's got guys who can play multiple systems. He wants linebackers who can play down, who can play up, who can cover, and you've got to have veterans to do that.
Well, take a look. I mean, they draft 2 corners. Otis Wilson, the starting corner's in his 14th year. Willie McGinnis is in his 10th year, so they bring in a Roosevelt Colvin, who's a 5-year guy. Then you look at Anthony Pleasant, who's a 14-year guy.
Otis Smith, I'm sorry. 3rd and 4. Palmer to throw after play action. As this one tipped the line of scrimmage, tipped again and nearly picked off.
That's our #1 draft choice, Ty Warren, number 92, who just read the play, got up in the air. I mean, that shows a little bit of maturity. Here you are trying to, to impress someone. I'm the #1 draft pick. They're expecting things out of me. But watch him stop and get his hands up in the air. Look at it. Look at the timing. He gets the ball, knocks it up in the air, saves the play.
Now we'll have a 34-yard field goal attempt by Matt Bryant, who was 26 of 32 last year. And he knocks it straight through. The second field goal for the Giants. One for Bryant, one for Hollis. On Monday, August 18th, you can start your football evening with Monday Night Countdown at 7 p.m. on ESPN. For an in-depth look at all this week's NFL news, and at ABC at 8, it's a preseason special. Derek Brooks and the Super Bowl champion Bucks against Marshall Faulk and the Rams.
Well, we saw the Bucks the other day. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Look pretty good, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
and I'll tell you, I think they got better.
But the Rams have not been far away. I think, you know, Kurt Warner's pinky, can he come back with that? Of course, who's going to wind up being the quarterback? Kurt Warner is the starting quarterback. Mark Bolger is now the backup as they entered camp. But Bolger did a great job.
Let me ask you, did they give Kurt Warner a new contract?
Yep. I know.
Now, you want to know who the starter is?
Gotcha.
Can I just tell you?
I'm thinking from a health standpoint.
Okay, you're right.
Of course, he was hurt all last year. Even when he said, you know, he was healthy, he was not throwing the ball well. And we have some lunatic who has run onto the field. And security finally will come out and get him.
Well, I like what security's doing. They're walking out. Nobody's getting tired.
I talked about, you know, what's happening in St. Louis as far as the quarterback situation goes. There are some real battles for jobs. I think Tim Couch and Kelly Holcomb in Cleveland. I think after the third game, Butch Davis has said he's going to make a decision. Kurt Warner, obviously, in Bolger. Hutchinson and Carter in Dallas. With a new coach, you never know. Fiedler got nicked a little bit in practice the other day, and they brought in Greasy. I think that's a great move for them. I think Jay Fiedler will be their starter, but they found out that they didn't have a number 2, and it hurt Miami last year.
Yes,
Cincinnati with Carson Palmer, the young rookie, get a chance to play. And then, of course, you got Chris Redmond and Kyle Bowler in Baltimore. Now, Bowler signed late. I don't know how much that's going to hurt him, but Redmond was a high pick just a couple years ago. So you've got competition at the quarterback position, but it's an infusion of youth. Just like Tom Brady had an opportunity when Drew Bledsoe was here. When Bledsoe got hurt, Brady seized the opportunity to play and never gave it back.
Mike Hollis to kick to Bethel Johnson and David Givens. .320 to go first half. Glad you could join us for the Giants and the Pats. Bethel Johnson from the 1. Runs through one tackle and takes it up to the 30-yard line.
This has been a pretty good defensive football game now, boys.
Yeah, Bethel Johnson's got some jets, though. I mean, this is a guy. We talked about 4 of the first 5 picks for New England were defense. He was the offensive one.
He was timed in 4.27 in the 40. You always question those times.
Yeah, but 117 catches in college.
Antoine Smith back in at running back. Bethel Johnson will stay on the field as a wide receiver along with Givens. And the quarterback is Heward. Smith on the toss. Absolutely nowhere to go. Mike Grayson turns him back in. Let's go to Susie.
Well, there's 22,000 yards on Brian Mitchell's legs, 13 league records. How do you keep getting better with age?
Well, I just keep working hard, you know, and I have a lot of guys around me willing to give up their bodies for my protection out there, you know, and I really thank them. It's not just me, it's always the guys that are blocking for me.
And how has the trash talking gotten better?
It's smart talking now, you know. I just try to do it at certain times to get guys worried about me instead of worrying about what they're supposed to be doing. I'm not trying to do anything devious out there, just trying to have fun.
Why do you always seem to stay in the NFC East now with your third team?
Well, you know, it's something that I'm used to. I'm used to being in the NFC. I'm used to the teams in that division, and I love the style of play. And also, it's the teams that always wanted me. You know, the teams I played against seem to show me some interest when I'm free, and I try to stay there.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
I want to add one other thing to what Susie was talking about with Brian. Brian also went to Philadelphia for a very specific reason.
To stick it to the Redskins.
To Washington, D.C., and he wanted the Redskins to see what was going on in their backyard and prove to them they made a mistake.
And now he has two teams he'd like to stick it to, the Eagles and the Redskins. We have reached the 2-minute warning in New England, where the Patriots continue to lead the Giants 13-6. Back after this. Coming up at the half, the Coors Light halftime show. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson will be along. We'll get TJ's take on holdouts. I hope he roasts all of them. And a Major League Baseball playoff chase coming up on the Coors Light halftime show.
Didn't they just have an all-star game? Baseball?
Yes. But, hey, this is important. Pennant race starts right after that.
I just thought I just saw an all-star game.
Heward over the middle, caught by the tight end Daniel Graham for a short game.
I'll tell you how valuable a backup.
But enough for a first down.
I'll tell you how valuable a backup quarterback is who can run an offense, especially a 2-minute. You think of the job that Drew Bledsoe did in the year that the Patriots won the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh. Came in when Tom Brady got hurt, threw the touchdown, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why it's important that Damon Heward can prove to the coaches that he can play the position and do a job if they have to.
Adrian Clem was beaten badly by the rookie out of Troy State, O.C.U. Menura.
Well, O.C.U. Menura, you want? Look, I'm sorry, but anyway, you talk about running over people. That to me is unbelievable. I mean, you got a big man on a big man and just run over somebody?
He had 16 sacks a year ago at Troy State. They said he needs technique because of the small school atmosphere in which he played. But once they teach him certain things, his natural athletic ability will be supplemented.
Menura. Excuse me, I wanted to get it right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to call him OC.
You can call him whatever you want. But you got to get him right.
He's got a great mentor in Michael Strahan.
And he's got a chance to play over there on that right side with Kenny Holmes, who had 8 sacks a year ago, but didn't make a whole lot of other plays for the Giants at defensive end.
Just like the Patriots brought in Roosevelt Colvin to be a pressure guy in passing situations, OC might be able to do the same thing for the Giants. Just be a situational rusher. Of course, William Joseph is not playing because he just has 1 day of practice. But he's another guy that they thought so much of. They moved up in the draft. I mean, Giants never do that.
No, and you know, the one thing about Joseph is that when he came in, he is really a quiet guy. They say he is not like the normal Miami guy. He is, you know, this guy, they don't even know how they got him down there because he doesn't say a whole lot, but they say he plays very well. And, you know, when you're a young player, I know you hold out for money and your agents hold you out, but, man, you've got to be here. They don't wait on you. They don't have time to wait on you.
I think there are certain positions that you can stay out a little bit longer, but what young guys have to understand is that you're slotted into a certain amount of money, and that's not going to change a whole lot. And by staying out, you're really not doing yourself any service, and you're not getting a chance to compete for a job.
Heward floats this one, and Larry Centers with a rare drop out of the backfield. Joseph was their first-round draft choice out of Miami, number 25 overall in the draft. They thought he would go in the top 15, and actually they went to their tight end sensation and said, look, he's a former teammate. Would you take this guy in the draft? And he said, oh, yeah, you betcha.
Well, look who he's standing next to.
For the Patriots. Draw play, Centers. A rare running opportunity across the 40 to the 42.
And the Giants want a timeout.
They'll stop the clock with 1:15 to go. This is a great opportunity for the coaching staff to see backup quarterbacks running the 2-minute drill.
It's not just backups quarterbacks. It's wide receivers. It's offensive linemen. How do you hustle to the line of scrimmage? Do you understand the concept of the 2-minute drill that we're trying to do? Will receivers get out of bounds? There you saw the Giants call a quick timeout after a running play. That's just being aware of clock, position on the field, timeouts, opportunities to score.
So Jim Fossil will get the ball back with a little more than a minute to go. Delvin Joyce waits back at his 15 for the punt from Ken Walter. Walter, one of the real good directional punters in this league. Gets off a good one this time. And Joyce, driven all the way back to the 11, forced to make the fair catch. A 47-yard kick and a beauty from Walter. The Giants will take over from their own 11. Hope you'll join us for a full night of football on Monday on ESPN. It starts at 7 o'clock with Monday Night Countdown. Then at 8, our preseason coverage continues. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles, one of the Super Bowl favorites, head to New Orleans to battle Aaron Brooks and the Saints. Boy, we have seen in recent years, too, it is tough to tab a preseason favorite. Somebody always comes out of the woodwork because of free agency or the rookies they picked up or injuries. But you've got to look at the Eagles and say, boy, this is a great football team.
Well, I think you take an example in Donovan McNabb. When he got hurt, I didn't think he was at full speed at the end of the season and when he went into the playoffs. The Eagles are primed and ready to go all the way, but injuries are the one Achilles heel, as you mentioned, Mike, that can really, really upset a team's chances to go on.
Every team in the National Football League, and if you take a look at all the Super Bowls, look at the teams, first of all, that go to the Super Bowl. Those are all healthy football teams.
Especially on the offensive line. Palmer under pressure. Throws underneath to Delvin Joyce, and the pressure was coming from the rookie Dan Klecko, whose dad did that a few times with the Jets. Eric Morris on the tackle. And here comes the hurry up from Jesse Palmer. And throws incomplete, intended for Marcellus Rivers. Excellent coverage from Morris again.
Well, with 41 seconds, I think I'd hand the ball off.
Well, then the Patriots
call timeout.
Yeah, because they'd like to have a punt return.
Yeah, 3rd and 8, I'd try and throw it. I mean, again, we talked about you're putting stuff on film right now. We're going through teaching sessions in training camp, so that's why you would run certain plays and not kneel down or not hand off.
But if you were in the regular season right now, and even if the score, whatever the score is now 13-6, you would still get out of here.
Palmer under pressure. Klecko couldn't get him, and Palmer stays in bounds, trying to pick up extra yardage, and takes the punishment for it. He picks up 12.
Well, there's Dan Klecko, and you remember that name. That's Joe Klecko's son. And here's a guy, let me tell you something about Klecko. Here's a guy that can squat 740 pounds. He bench presses 525 pounds. He works out 6 days a week before camp with his father. Then they did some boxing on the side of all of that. And I'll tell you one thing Joe said about this guy, Dan. He's got to be the strongest guy on this football team. His father, Joe Klecko, here he is right here. Was he any good with the Jets? I'm telling you, this was a great football player.
Played from 77 to 88, and in 81 he had 20.5 sacks with the Jets sack exchange, and his son plays just like him, but his son is doing one thing he didn't do. Joe Klecko made the Pro Bowl at 3 different spots, but his son Dan is working at down lineman, nose tackle, and linebacker. He's 283, and they're working him out at linebacker.
And he's on every single special team.
You know, when Levon Kirkland played it at 290, everybody thought, oh my goodness, he's so big, he can't play. If you're agile enough and you've got the speed, you can play the position.
Palmer throws a strike right through the hands of Marcellus Rivers. Klecko in college, drafted by the Patriots out of Temple, where he was the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. And that is something at Temple with all the problems they had. 68 tackles, 10 sacks. Of course, that was his dad's alma mater, and he followed him there.
Didn't the University of Miami used to be in the Big East? I thought they had some pretty good football players down there defensively.
Absolutely.
And yet this kid here is the Big East Player of the Year.
Yes, he was. And here is pressure straight up the gut by another rookie, Ty Warren, the #1 draft choice out of Texas A&M. And they've got a big future plan for this kid.
Boy, they do, and both these guys, Klecko and Ty Warren. But just take a look at Klecko's going to end up number 90, taking on 2 players. And here comes Ty Warren up the middle. Nobody blocked him. And the guy that was supposed to block him, David Deal, this is the guy that the Giants think is going to be a really good football player. He never even laid a hand on this guy.
Ty Warren said he was overwhelmed at the start of camp. He said there are so many things to remember. It's a slow process, but I'm starting to get it.
Well, you know, especially when they just say to him, go get the quarterback. He's okay. I can do that.
Just when you think you're starting to get it as a rookie, then they start game planning for regular season, and you go right back to square one. It all looks like a puzzle.
Well, you had the most complicated situation as a quarterback going into a training camp and have them throw everything at you. It just must have been mind-boggling.
It is, and actually I think it's even more difficult today. I think the West Coast offense is an offense that's based on verbiage, up to 15, 20 different symbols, numbers, and letters in a play call.
You'd have never played today.
I know. Thank goodness I'm doing what I'm doing. They couldn't have punted either today.
No, you couldn't.
Jesse Palmer will kneel down, and that will be the end of the first half, and a very impressive one for the New England Patriots. Our score 13-6. Now let's join Chris Berman for the Coors Light halftime show.
All right, Michael, thank you very much, and welcome to Tom Jackson. 17 years we were together, and good to see you again. 13-6 is our score. So the Patriots. All right, they come out, and there's Brady to Troy Brown, like the salad days, huh?
Yeah, I think the formula that they used to be successful a couple of years ago, Rosie Colvin forced the fumble early on in the game from Tiki Barber. They followed that up with a trap to Kevin Falk, who in a battle for that job at the starting tailback with Antoine Smith. Play action pass, Tom Brady to Troy Brown. That's the success and the formula that got them the Super Bowl win a couple of years ago. Defensively, very confusing. I think when you look at that ball club, you know, they look like they're about ready to play. I know it's the first preseason game. Right? They need somebody to be able to carry the load 20 to 25 times a game. That's Antoine Smith. It has to be that guy because I believe Kevin Falk is a change of pace back.
How about those Giant special teams, Tom? They look better.
They look outstanding. Now, the rest of the team not playing very well. Quarterback been under some pressure. They made some mistakes. But you can see that the special team situation, I think that Coach Fossil has done a great job of getting that straightened out. The test tonight, you can see Tiki Barber fumbled early on, got a lot of work after that. I don't think Coach Fossil was very satisfied with the fumble. And now Ron Dane is the guy who I think is in the process, and he may not realize it.
I think he does.
You think he does?
I think he does.
In the process of a tryout right now with the New York Giants.
I think he does. The way he took the ball right up the field, not that sideline.
Didn't go out of bounds, went right up the field.
I think he does. Well, the Giants, of course, are trying to overtake the Philadelphia Eagles for first place in the NFC East. They beat them at the end of the year last year, and but the Eagles, a lot of their roster has changed. Some changed at the end of the year, and some they're just not there yet. Deuce Staley, running back, starter. Holding out. He's working out in Columbia, South Carolina, and he wants to be at camp, but...
Of course, I need to be in camp. Of course, I need to be running with the team, getting my timing down, and that's a part of it. I know the consequences of my act. I know that coming into this, that, I will miss some days to try to really get my point across. That's just where we're at now. I mean, I can go on and on and on about the situation, but the key points are out there.
Money battles have always happened. They always will happen. Let's put that aside. I don't want to take sides here, but Tommy, you're an Eagle teammate, all right? Here's a team that, remember, won all those games with a third-string quarterback last year, so Andy Reid has other plans. But if you're his teammate, where are you?
You don't worry about the things that you can't control. You'd like to have Deuce Staley in camp. You think that he's going to improve your football team. But we have to, as a professional, be prepared to go on without Deuce Staley. If he's not there, we still want to have those same goals. Get to the championship game. Get to the Super Bowl. Those goals will not change. And I think the one thing that Andy Reid has done a great job of over the course of his tenure is, whether it was injury or otherwise, he's let people know nobody is more important than this football team. We will go on without anybody, and we will be successful.
You've seen how well he is prepared with a backup plan.
That's correct.
I mean, and a backup plan to the backup.
To the backup plan.
And we'll see some of those backup plans to the backup plans on Monday night, a special Monday night edition after we go NFL Live or Monday Night Countdown. See all the new verbiage. Verbiage, Joe. Eagles, Saints, that's Monday night at 8 following our 1-hour edition of Monday Night Countdown. Miami in the preseason will play Tampa Bay tomorrow. And Jay Fiedler a little dinged up, and a name certainly very familiar quarterback in Miami. Not this one, but his dad, Bob Greasy. Brian Greasy probably will get the starting nod tomorrow night for the Dolphins against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now look, chance to start over for Brian Greasy. He's not going to unseat Fiedler though again, unless Jay plays himself out of a job. Don't you agree?
Yeah, Jay Fiedler's going to be the starter for the Miami Dolphins from Dartmouth. But you hope that Brian Greasy will benefit from this change of venue, that he gets that fresh start that Boom just talked about. I think the thing in Denver that really was disconcerting to Coach Shanahan is that it appeared as if Brian Greasy lost his enthusiasm for playing football. And unfortunately, it happened after he got the huge contract with the Broncos.
Well, which was a head-scratcher to everybody. But we know he can play tough. We've seen it. Right?
Yes, that Monday night game against the Ravens.
But we'll see. New life in Miami. When we return at halftime, we'll get you caught up on baseball, the dog days of August, and others. Stay with us. This halftime show is presented by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold, down, easy.
Patriots on top of the half, 13-6. Let's go to Susie with Bill Belichick.
Coach, a lot of rookies playing well tonight. We're going to ask you to assess their play and check out a few of the highlights here.
Well, you know, I think overall they're playing aggressively, and, you know, they have come in and made a couple plays. You know, Klecko's gotten some pressure off the edge and made a couple plays in the running game, but caught a holding penalty there. Warren makes a nice move there in the 2-minute drill and, you know, gets a big sack. He's been working hard in camp, and, you know, this is Eugene Wilson. He's really done a good job of tackling for us the whole camp, and, you know, his coverage was okay. We gave up a couple, but these are good receivers.
You know, you're known as the defensive guy. The last couple of years, you spent a lot of time with the quarterbacks. Now you have a quarterback coach. What difference will we see in the defense then?
Well, I don't know. You know, we were pretty good on defense 2 years ago and wasn't quite as good last year. But, you know, I think we can all do a little bit better job playing and coaching, and that's what we're going to try to do. I think John Huffnagel's done a real good job with the quarterback, so probably a lot better than I would do.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
And Susie, you can pretty much guarantee if that guy is giving more attention to defense, the defense is going to be better.
Does that mean he has to take credit for Tom Brady because he worked with the quarterbacks?
Absolutely.
And Tom Brady, if he's smart, will give him credit.
Well, you know, Brady, too, here's a kid that really is in his second training camp on.
Bethel Johnson from the 3. You've already seen that speed. Nice cut to get outside there. Nice cut back. And Bethel Johnson up to about the 32. I think the thing that has impressed me the most here in the first half are the rookies that we just showed. You don't necessarily count on them to have an impact, but these kids look like they might.
And they're going to have to. I mean, they really are. They're going to have to be good backups for the New England Patriots to be able to go through an entire 16-game season. Talking about Tom Brady, too. Everything came so fast, so quickly, in such a short period of time. He now has a chance to digest and really become a quarterback instead of a whirlwind star running around the country.
Rohan Davey, who is trying to win one of the quarterback spots, gives off to Patrick Pass, who has had a good camp. Fourth-year man out of Georgia, who will back up Fred McCrary as the fullback.
But, you know, when you look around the National Football League year in and year out of all the injuries, Joe, and you mentioned it a week ago with Chris Sims, that you're only 2 plays away from playing. Well, this is exactly what happens with these young players. I mean, they're a play away from being a starter on this football team, so they better get it now and get it fast.
You'd hope they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd hope they do, but you have to realize, you know, and you realize, Paul, there's an awful lot to absorb as far as offenses and defenses go.
Patrick Pass to the 40 behind McCrary. The tackle made by Grayson.
We were talking about New England Patriots and reloading with young guys.
Right.
Ernie, of course, he's done a terrific job on the Giants side with Grayson. He's got Quincy Monk at one linebacker, and he's got Wesley Mallard at the other. All of them second-year guys. Again, that second year, they've got to come in, and they're going to have to contribute because Mike Barrow's in his 11th year. And so he's not getting any younger. So they need to find some guys to be able to play at that other level for him.
Pass again, trying to stretch it to the outside, knocked out of bounds after he gets enough for the first down. And Joe, back to your point, you don't have the luxury anymore of waiting 4 or 5 years for a guy to develop, because by then his first contract's up. If he's any good, he's gone to somebody else. You have to find out early if they can play.
Or it's going to cost you a lot of money to keep him.
Paul, your impressions of the rookies so far? I thought they looked great tonight.
Yeah, on the Giants, on the New England side of the ball. On the Giants side of the ball, on the other hand, I mean, these guys, they're not playing up to what I think the Fossil wants.
Good play fake by Rohan Davey. Complete to Johnson, then lost it on the way down at the 40-yard line. Rohan Davey, if you had a chance to watch him in college, he just did a tremendous job. Every time I watched this kid play, he was getting pounded by somebody and just hung in there and hung in there. He is a big, strong quarterback.
Had 3 300-yard games consecutively throwing a football. I mean, and he threw well. I just think he's a little bit too deliberate in his throws. I think he's got to get it out a little quicker, and it'll help the receiver.
Pass, nice hole up the middle.
He just really has to speed everything up a little bit.
Well, and this is one of the things now in this part of the ball game that now you've got all these second-year guys or second-string guys or third-string guys in there. Some of these guys aren't going to make this football team. But what they're trying to do is run the ball, and they're looking at where they want to run the ball. It's not necessarily, get to the outside, do all this fancy stuff. Just run straight at them. We want to find some people in the middle of that line that can block people.
Well, especially with Joe Andruzzi slowly coming back off an injury. Stephen Neal, a guy they thought was going to give him a lot up front, had to have shoulder surgery. Here comes the blitz. Davey hangs in the middle of the pocket and throws incomplete, just off the hands of Fred Baxter, the third tight end.
Grayson just came in, number 54, and you're right about Davey. It doesn't bother him. You want to throw some people at me? I don't care. I'm big enough. I can do the job. Watch Rohan Davey. Look at him stand there. He doesn't care. And that ball should have been caught. That was right on Baxter's hands.
Nice touch. Now they'll have to punt it away, and Ken Walter comes on to kick to Delvin Joyce. Daniel Pope will kick instead of Walter. Joyce is going to let this one go, and it kicks into the end zone. 45-yard punt, but a net of only 25 as they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. The Giants will start from there, down 13-6 to New England. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by TGI Fridays, introducing 3 big flavors. Choose from dishes like our new garlic chicken. Converse, the first school, available at Foot Locker. Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. And Best Buy, thousands of possibilities. Get yours. Best described as hardworking and patriotic people in the village of Foxborough, Massachusetts. Ron Dane in to run the ball for the Giants and hit in the backfield and taken down. Dan Klecko, the rookie, again in on the stop.
Well, Dan Klecko now is playing linebacker on the outside and this 3-4 defense. Here's Klecko in the first half. Dan Klecko has got excellent speed, but the one thing he does have, he can overpower you. He is a strong young man. But look at him come down the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's just a natural reaction for him. Here he doesn't catch Palmer. And we showed his father, Joe Klecko, in the stands. He didn't understand it. 5'11", 283 pounds, and he can bring it.
Jesse Palmer, play action, pressure on, down he goes. Guess who? Klecko.
I think he's going to really like playing linebacker.
Yeah, and I think he's going to make this team very easily.
You get the feeling that he enjoys being a linebacker here. There he is standing up outside. Daniel Graham tries to block him. I mean, it's really a no contest. The thing about it, I think One of the toughest things for linebackers, if they're pure linebackers, to learn is how to use their hands when they rush. As a defensive lineman, he's so used to using his hands and making the quick moves inside to get to the quarterback. It helps him now when he stands up on the edge.
Jim Finn is in as the fullback in front of Dane, and Palmer back to the end zone under pressure. Throws complete to Finn, the ex-Indianapolis Colt, up to the 23.
Well, Robert Kraft yesterday, Joe and I had a chance to stand on the field and talk to Mr. Kraft, and I said, you know, I really hope, because his father was such a great player for the Jets, I hope that Dan Klecko makes his football team. And Robert Kraft looked at us and he said, hey, Paul, I think he's going to make it.
Paul, well, yeah.
I think he's going to make it.
Got a chance, right?
He got a good chance.
Yeah.
But what he has done tonight, he keeps doing that. If he doesn't play here, he's playing someplace else.
Mr. Kraft thinks so much of his football team. He flew all the way back. He went from Prague to Jerusalem, back here yesterday, just to get here for the ball games.
David Patton deep to return from the 38. A lot of room to run. Check it, Dedrick Ward. 46-yard return after a 43-yard punt.
Look at Ward. I mean, he just turns to the outside, but that's what happens when you line drive a ball into the middle of the field. He's got a 15-yard cushion on the kickoff team, or on the punt team. And he made something happen.
Of course, Dedrick Ward very comfortable and familiar with this offense because he played for Charlie Wise when he was with the Jets. That's Coach Fossil and Coach McNally taking a look at probably what's happening with the offensive line and pass protection, because right now the Giant quarterbacks aren't getting any.
Pass, cuts it outside, got a nice block. Inside the 10, driven out of bounds at the 7.
Now you just saw some quick feet by pass. I mean, there was nothing inside, nothing at all, and pass, head up, and eyes open. Look at this, back to the outside. He gets an excellent block by Rodney Trafford, but that opened it up, sealed to the inside, get to the outside. He picked up 8 yards.
I just get the feeling that New England will be a running back by committee. I mean, they'll have specific guys do specific things. You'll have Larry Centers coming out of the backfield. Kevin Falk got a 5.2 average. I think, again, I believe Anton Smith can make a difference in his football team. Go with the fullback, Kevin Pass.
Well, some other guys they wanted to look at not available. J.R. Redmond has bad ribs. Michael Cloud had calf surgery, and he's facing a substance abuse suspension. And Antoine Womack has been slow to heal from a knee injury. So they're getting the most out of what they have right now. He's a young man with some postseason intensity in the preseason. He's ready.
How do you know it's a young man?
Just a guess. Little girls are too smart to dress that way. Pass straight up the middle on a good block inside the 5. That should be plenty for another first down.
New England's had an opportunity to put a lot of really good film work together. You've got goal line short yardage coming up here. You had 2-minute defense. You had long yardage situations that they've had to try and convert. These are all things where coaches can really evaluate one-on-one blocks by interior linemen and the ability of the back to run and make people miss too. You get down here around the goal line, coaches say we can block 10. You're responsible for one of them.
First and goal for the Patriots. Pass again. Stretches it to the outside, got down near the 1, then pushed back. And Osi led the charge on defense.
You know what? I just love to watch a running back when he sits on the rear end of the fullback. McCurry on that play there took his man, and all that pass did, I mean, there were just too many people. They didn't block enough people, but he was right there to get into the end zone. I don't think you really want to throw the ball here. I know you can, but I think what you want to do is just see if your offensive line can move these guys out and make the big play on the goal line by running the football. Now that
pass dropped the ball on the exchange from Davey. Looked like he got it on his hip, and the Giants recover.
It'll always be, as long as I'm around football, it is the quarterback's responsibility. You have to protect the football. Rohan Davey just sticks the ball in, sticks it, doesn't really see the ball go into the stomach. If you're a quarterback, especially down around the goal line, make sure you see the ball go into his stomach, let the runner take it, and then go.
Welcome back to New England. 8:06 to go, third quarter, where the Patriots continue to lead the Giants 13-6. Jeremy Shockey's night ended quite a while ago as the starting tight end. Michael Strahan's never started. He's playing with a broken toe on his foot. Dorsey Levens is in as the running back behind Justice Palmer, and Levens takes it out to about the 5. If you have read any of the magazines lately, like ESPN, the magazine, Sports Illustrated, or a host of other publications, Shockey has been favorably compared to Keith Jackson, Mike Ditka, John Mackey, all the great tight ends that ever played. And some of the off-season excesses, if you will, that Shockey has been part of.
He's become a little bit like Joe Namath was in New York. I think
exactly.
he's captured the fancy. I mean, he spends a little time in South Beach, down in Miami. And the thing about a guy like him that I like is he lives life to the fullest, and he can back it up. He's the type of a football player that will go hard, have a good time, but understands that he's got a workout to get to at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. He's not going to sacrifice his football for living life.
Isn't that the key to it? I mean, he is enjoying his celebrity, his wealth, and his youth in the middle of New York City. He is having a ball, but he's not going to cut corners on what he's doing on the football
He's
field.
there at 6 o'clock in the morning lifting with the linemen. I mean, this guy knows where everything is at. I mean, he's got his priorities straight. He really does. He has his priorities straight.
Well, he has a love for the game, too. I mean, you didn't see it. He's like Brett Favre. Just let me go play football. Just let me go play.
And they'll whistle this one dead.
Delay.
And if you've read some of these preseason articles, you just know that Shockey gobbles up life like a 3-month-old St. Bernard goes after a bowl of Alpo.
Michael, he's single.
Oh, he's having a great time.
He's a great player.
You
and
used to be all those things.
What? When I was 3?
Well, you were young.
When I was very young. Whoa.
Look at all this coverage. ESPN, the magazine, Sports Illustrated on the back left, Pro Football. And he has earned all the accolades that they have given him. Comes from a small town of Ada, Oklahoma. First on the scene last year, set a Giants team record for tight ends. And remember, until last year, the highest catch total ever for the Giants was 79. That's for wide receivers included. He caught 74. He's just a brilliant player. And your point about his love for the game, he does seem like Brett Favre. He plays with that same joy, that same intensity. Like, I want to make a lot of money out of this, but if push came to shove, I'd take a couple of bucks and still go out there and do it.
And there are other guys that play with that same passion. They just don't wear it on their sleeves like Brett and Jeremy did.
Well, and he also said, I'm not trying to get into the Hall of Fame in 2 years. I want, this kid really loves the game, and he's tough.
Well, he's got to be out 5 before they elect him.
Dedrick Ward back at the 35 on the kick return. Taken out at the 47, a 17-yard return after a 55-yard kick. And when we come back, Susie will have former Jets great sack artist Joe Klecko. Isn't that a pretty shot with the bridge and the lighthouse, the symbols of New England here at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough?
It's a beautiful stadium.
They did a great job.
Mr. Kraft deserves all the credit in the world for putting together an absolutely beautiful venue to play ball in.
Frank Moreau and Mike Mallon are the new running backs, and Moreau on the toss will get to midfield. Let's check in with Susie.
Well, Joe Klecko was part of that great Jet sack exchange. How do you put into words watching your son get his first NFL sack?
Pretty fulfilling. It really was. He's lived for this for a long time, and now to see him do as well as he's doing tonight, just, as a father, you're just so proud,
You were a 4-time Pro Bowler. You went at 3 different positions along the D-line. How have you been able to help Dan, nose tackle, linebacker, all the versatility Bill expects from him?
Dan's a pretty good student. Dan's a smart football player, and he has a lot of great savvy about this game. And it just goes to show in his play.
Hang on 1 second. We'll throw it back to Mike.
All right, right, Susie, that was Bethel Johnson for 42 yards, and that's what they want from their second-round draft choice out of Texas A&M, the deep speed.
New England's looking for somebody to stretch the defense. Excuse me. And Bethel Johnson is the guy that they feel like can get it done, as well as David Givens. He does a nice job of fighting off the defender. I think it's very difficult to battle a defender, focus on the football, and be able to make a clean catch like that.
But Rohan Davey hung that thing up so he could find it.
And he got away from the giant rookie Roderick Babers. Back to Susie.
Joe, you were drafted in the 6th round, Dan in the 4th. Different errors, but what's the mentality of a player who knows he needs to break onto a team?
I've always told Danny, I says, you know, when you're out there and you're doing well and you think you're doing well, remember there's always somebody better somewhere else. I said, you know, it's striving. Danny's he never gets filled with what he does. He just keeps working for the next play, the next day, and, you know, working out to get better.
First home game is against the Jets. What would that be like?
It's going to be tough on me, of course. I'm going to be hitting. There's nobody going to find me for no interviews. That's for sure.
Thanks, Joe.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Joe. Klecko out of the backfield. The little toss. It's a touchdown to Fred McCrary.
Now that looked awfully easy. You know, here comes a fullback coming out of the backfield. They fake to the back, and look at McCurry. He's out to the outside, but nobody is there.
Well, the world was covering the tight ends.
They must have read that clipping about we now have 3 or 4 tight ends here, and they're playing very well, and we're going to cover it.
It felt like Daniel Graham might be in the end zone.
Yeah.
Vinatieri will come on for the point after. And Rohan Davey has his first preseason touchdown pass. A perfect strikeout in the flat to Fred McCrary, and it's 23-6 New England. Experience football like never before in high definition on ESPN HD. College football Saturday primetime, Sunday night football, Monday Night Football on ABC HD, and starting Tuesday, August 26th, ESPN's new original dramatic series, Playmakers in high definition. It's the best football 4 nights in a row in high definition. ESPN HD now available nationwide.
Does HD make you look wider?
You have to talk wider.
I don't have any problem about the wider part.
Makes you look smarter.
Huh?
Yeah, it does.
Smarter?
Smarter.
Not wider.
Not wider.
Delvin Joyce a yard deep in the end zone for the Giants. And cut down before he reached the 25. One of the new Patriots, Roosevelt Colvin, who starred for the Bears for 4 years, had 10.5 sacks. Each of the last 2 years, was great off the edge. And they think this guy will be an impact player for them. Bill Belichick was very high on him. And when they brought him in here, now free agency, it's like college recruiting. Some people want to wine you and dine you, show you how great a city it is. He came in and he really appreciated the fact that Bill Belichick just sat with him and talked football and what they might expect of him, what he would expect of them, and it sold him.
They were the only ones in the stadium. They sat in the lounge in the stadium, very quiet place. You know, but it's really something. I think I'd have taken the trips. I mean, a lot of owners got G3s, G4s. It's not bad to fly around a few times.
And it broke up the great linebacking core they had in Chicago with Urlacher and Holdman and Colvin, and that's what free agency has done to the game. There was a time when you could expect these guys maybe to play together 12, 15 years and be one of the great linebacking cores in the history of this game, but it's just not going to happen anymore.
Well, what I liked about Roosevelt, he talked about why he came here, how he made the decision. He said, I talked to my parents first, and I talked to my wife, and we made a family decision that this was the best place for me to go. Well, that's neat.
I think the economics had a little bit to do as well.
Okay.
He's going to learn you talk to your wife first, then your parents. Otherwise, you get in a lot of trouble.
I'll tell you, he does not look 255 pounds.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, there isn't an ounce of fat on this guy.
He is cut.
The thing is, when he puts his hand down and he becomes that defensive end, because, I mean, that's really a position he played in college, he can bring it just as easily off the end that way as he can standing up.
Klecko, Palmer, and Klecko right there again. Boy, what a huge first game that young man's had.
I'll tell you, who do they play next in preseason? Someone, they're going to be looking at Klecko and saying, you better block this guy with more than one guy. Watch number 90, right up the middle. I mean, he doesn't slow down. When you think he's going to go outside you, he overpowers you. He has got that kind of strength.
And Matt Chatham, number 58, deserves a lot of the credit for that because he forced Palmer back inside. 2nd and 16 for the Giants. They'll go to the shotgun. And Palmer may have been ready for the snap before his center was.
False start, 66, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
The Patriots picked up another Pro Bowler in Rodney Harrison, and Susie has more on him. Susie?
Well, Mike, it might sound extreme, but Harrison said he may not have come to New England if they wouldn't let him wear the patented 37. He says it represents toughness and grit. He chose it his freshman year in college because the great Lester Hayes wore it, a guy who played hurt, who gave everything to the game. It was all about toughness. And for Rodney Harrison, he said practice is about emotions. If the team is a little bit down, he'll just bump a tight end the wrong way or hit a wide receiver. That's what the game is about for him, emotion and intensity. And he sums it all up with that number 37.
And what's really funny, he bemoans the fact that you can't just go out and wipe out people anymore like the old days.
He got fined a lot of money. I'll tell you what was interesting yesterday when Joe was talking to him. He almost beat Joe up when Joe says, you know, safeties, you know, they don't ask you to cover it. They don't cover that much anymore. And Rodney looked at him like, wait a minute, I'm going to whack you.
He got very defensive.
Yes, he did.
Well, as a matter of fact, he said, when I was in San Diego, you know, and everybody would go to 3 and 4 wides, I had to be the 4th cover guy. He said, I can cover.
The Patriots signed him as a free agent. We asked him what different elements he adds to the Patriots training camp.
It's about getting guys fired up and ticked off and, you know, high energy. That's what it's about. That's what football is about. It's about fighting. It's about spitting on your opponent. It's about hitting him in his mouth, getting up off your butt after you've been knocked out. That's what football is about. You got to love it.
Wait a minute, spitting on your opponent? You know, the thing about it is...
Well, in a nice way.
When you look at him and what he has done, and you just... There's such a calmness about him that you better be aware of where he is all the time. Because if you're not, all the fines that he went through, Joe, didn't make a bit of difference to him. He's going to knock you out.
Well, I can see he and Jeremy Shockey locking up. Because the Giants and Pats are going to do this. I can see him locking up for a full football game. I think there might just be a little bit of jawing going on because both of them high-energy guys.
Palmer, nice play fake. And then throws out in the flat to Visante Shanko, a tight end, the rookie they have high hopes for. Rodney Harrison always had a reputation as a fierce hitter. Went to the Pro Bowl twice. Over the 100 tackle mark 5 times in his 9-year career, and the only active player in the NFL with more than 20 interceptions and 20 sacks. He was really upset that he was let go by San Diego, but that paled in comparison to his reaction to having Junior Seau let go. I think he was really upset about that.
Well, you really are talking about 2 guys that have identified who the San Diego Chargers have been in the last 7-8 years. I mean, Rodney Harrison was always the hammer. Junior Seau was the energy and the enthusiasm that drove that football team. Now, Rodney is here. Junior's down in Miami. Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator, is going to have a very interesting situation down there in Miami with where do you fit a Junior Seau in?
Wherever he wants to play, except in the middle. Any place but in the middle.
Zach wouldn't like that, would he?
No.
But Rodney's loving it here. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. New England continues to lead the New York Giants. End of 3, 20-6.
This is hysterical. Go Pats, 2003. Get a win. Let's go.
You know, it's hard to get good accordion music these days, and that guy did it without the monkey.
Hey, Pats, let's go. I'll kill you.
Come on, man. You're going to hear a lot of it when you get down in New Orleans.
Knock you out if you don't win, Pats.
Do you know that the Giants, in 3/4 of this football game, I guess it's because nobody else can get open, 13 different guys have caught passes in this ball game for the Giants.
That's because they have 87 on the roster, Paul.
And no one guy can get open more than once. But for the Giants, again, they have not practiced at all in training camp. It's only been a short training camp against the 3-4 defense. Now, that's not an excuse for them, but there aren't many teams that play 3-4, and they weren't, they didn't practice against
I think it's a great advantage for the New England Patriots, the fact that there aren't a lot of teams that play it. I think it creates real problems for identifying blocking schemes on the offensive line.
Palmer straight back to throw under pressure again.
Matt Chatham gets a chance to get payback by Klecko. That time Chatham comes over the top and gets
Klecko's on the bottom.
Right. Klecko was on the bottom. I mean, you better block him.
Well, they can't find anybody to do that.
He's only 5'10", but I'll tell you what, they say he may be the strongest guy on this football team, number 90.
I can think of another little guy by the name of John Randall, who's not very big and has a great motor and really wreaked havoc inside as a defensive tackle.
Klecko has 2.5 sacks on the night. Bethel Johnson from the 16. Fumble. Patriots get it back at the 33. 17-yard return after a punt of 56. Of course, all this is leading up to the regular season, and here's what the Patriots will face. At Buffalo and at Philadelphia. Tough start, then the Jets and at Washington. So 3 out of 4 on the road. 2 of them divisional rivals. It's not an easy start.
I'll tell you what, Buffalo is going to be very good this year. They really had some additions to their football team, and what they're going to try to do is, why they can let centers go, one of the reasons, they're going to try to run the ball with Travis Henry.
You got 3 out of 4 away to start the season, but then here in New England in December, you get 3 out of 4 at home.
That helps. And, of course, everybody thinks the Redskins are going to be a lot better this year. So that's the 4th game of the season.
And they re-signed Danny Werfel in Washington because Rob Johnson was struggling. And from what I understand, ever since Danny Werfel got signed, Rob Johnson's got a whole lot better in the last couple practices.
That'll do it.
Strange.
Strange how things like that happen.
Steve Cheek will kick again as we had an illegal man downfield. And Bethel Johnson this time will wait at his 32.
Bethel Johnson just sounds like speed, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
If you say it fast,
it's Bethel Johnson.
Yeah, see how quick that was?
Speed.
I mean, really, it's like you almost can't catch up to the words.
Wow.
Pretty kick.
Ooh, returnable.
Ooh, Bethel.
Johnson muffed it at the 18, picks it up. Good coverage by the Giants so far. Johnson nearly outran them down to the corner. 5-yard return after a 59-yard punt. Let's check in with Susie.
Well, Mike, here's something. It's preseason, and except for a little flu, we have a healthy Tiki Barber. How did you alter your training in the offseason to make sure you get through the preseason?
Well, I'd been training out really hard early on and then tapering off as training camp came, but I kept pulling hamstrings, so I changed it up a little bit. I worked slower at the beginning and worked harder at the end. But I think the biggest thing I did was I started training with John Davenport, who was a boxing coach. He used to train Lennox Lewis. And it helped a lot with my footwork and my hand speed. And the conditioning that boxers go through is unbelievable. And it's kept me healthy so far.
What are some of those similarities, boxing and football?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the toughness, because there's plenty of times when you're boxing, you're sparring, you're hitting a heavy bag repeatedly for 3 minutes. You just want to quit. You want to lay down and say this is too much. But John's been great. You know, he pushes me through it just like a football coach would. And I think my mentality and my physique has changed in a lot of ways.
Do you think Kerry Collins is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in football?
I think he is, because he doesn't get put up there with the Jeff Garcias and the Kurt Warners, but I think the last 2 years he's been really consistent for us, and without his accuracy and his leadership in the huddle, we wouldn't have been as good as we've been. And it's only going to get better for us. You know, we had a rough outing this time, but it's only the first one. We still got 3 more before the regular season comes around.
How much input do you have into the game plan?
Not a whole lot. They just give me the ball in situations where I can go run. But Kerry has a ton. Kerry understands this offense a lot, and Coach Fossil puts a lot of faith in him and doing what he likes and what he's comfortable with.
Hang on just a sec.
Rohan Davey with a little toss, and Patrick Pass turns it into a huge play. 32 yards.
You want to know how strong Rohan Davey is? Watch this, folks. I'm telling you now, this takes a lot of strength to do what he just does here. I mean, he's wrapped up. He goes back to the outside. Look at this. He is hit and then gets the ball to pass on the outside, and now it's all pass.
And Paul, that's exactly what impressed me so much about him in college. He would have guys draped all over him, and he's throwing the ball downfield and completing them.
Little bit of a Steve McNair type of delivery.
Exactly.
Big, strong guy, doesn't take it back very far, but can really fling it.
Throws this one well for a completion down to the 32. Let's go back to Susie and Tiki Barber.
Just in terms of an appreciation for the game, how much of a thrill do you get out of, even when it's, you know, the guys on the other team, when you see big plays like that?
Especially when it's a running back, you know, that's the guy in my own heart cutting across the field and making a big play like that. My coach in college always told me that people come to games to watch the running backs make big plays. So when I've played with some pretty good ones. Emmitt Smith I've watched. And it's awesome to see them make big plays, even if it hurts us sometimes. But hopefully it doesn't hurt us too bad when we win.
And speaking of big plays, just what type of an impact has Jeremy Shockey had on this offense?
I'll tell you, the beauty for me is that he can line up out of the backfield, out of the box, and bring someone out there, whether it's a safety or a linebacker. There's one less guy that's going to hit me when I'm running. But also I think it prevents people from double teaming Amani. So it gives us a lot of options. You either got to double team him or you got to double team Amani. And either way, you're going to be wrong most of the time.
Tiki, thanks for your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you, Susie.
Mike?
Susie, thanks very much. And meanwhile, the Patriots have reached the 26-yard line, and Frank Moreau now down to the 24.
Well, another element on Jeremy Shockey is he has the moves of a running back. You see him lined up at the tight end position. The Sam linebacker is the outside strong side linebacker covering the tight end. The Mike linebacker will be the middle linebacker as designated by defenses. He puts the move on the Sam backer, starts to go outside with a little basketball move, fools the middle backer, the Mike backer, and winds up in the middle of the football field. Good protection for Kerry Collins. And then Jeremy Shockey does what he does so well, and that's run with the football after he gets his hands on it.
Wasn't that pretty? Yeah. That's not bad either. Nice throw to Rod Trafford, the tight end, and Rohan Davey got it out in the flat for another completion.
I think Rohan Davey is picking up this offense pretty well. I mean, and what he is doing is finding the open guy. Look, he looks a little bit to his right and back to Trafford on the other side, number 47. Pass is a little high, but the catch was made.
He is another one of those second-year guys that Bill Belichick wanted to see step it up.
If I remember correctly, he played a couple of games at LSU with very badly bruised ribs and never favored them. He'd just stand in there and take it whenever people came after him. Pass. Tried to turn it outside, never had a chance.
Giants really fell apart, giving up 130 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's amazing when you think the record they had, the year they had, the amount of yards that Kerry Collins had, and they gave up 130 points in the fourth quarter. Now, keep in mind, they only gave up 16 in the first quarter. Just 16.
Right. Play action by Rohan Davey. Throws for the end zone and right through the hands of Spencer Need, the rookie from BYU. He'll never have an easier chance for a touchdown.
Nice throw.
It was an excellent throw, but look at Spencer Need coming back to the, I mean, he's got his head down. And look at this. Play action, he runs a bootleg, goes back to the outside, and here's Spencer. Bink. Whoops. Whoops.
Well, you just want to find a hole after that, don't you?
You know, this isn't one of those balls that goes rocketing along. I mean, Rohan's on the move, makes the throw.
He put a lot of touch on that ball. That ball was floating in.
As he's played more, it looks like he's getting smoother.
Davey back to throw on third down, finds some time. Fake, oh, nice fake. But a nice recovery by the defender as he gets only down to the 5-yard line. Ryan Clark bit on the first pump, but kept his feet and made the tackle.
Now, Rohan Davey, we've seen him moving, and he really doesn't like to run. He doesn't have great speed. He's another one of those big quarterbacks, but when he has to, he made a pretty good move. Except for one thing, Clark didn't take it. Put his leg out, and Clark took it.
So that will bring Vinatieri on again.
And one of the things that Charlie Wise, the offensive coordinator, is going to tell him, throw the ball away down around the goal line. Don't take sacks.
Vinatieri is now hit from 24, 25, and 39, and the Patriots extend their lead to 17 points, 23-6 over the New York Giants. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by K-Swiss, Bank of America, higher standards, Shell, experience the waves of change at Shell, and AT&T Wireless Go Phone. When you can get the best of wireless with no annual contract, that's M-Life. A lot of great Italian restaurants in Boston. Darryl Jones on the return for the Giants. And takes it up to the 27, 28-yard line. They'll start from there. With 8:27 to go in the ballgame, it's been all New England. They're up 23-6. The rain getting harder here in Foxborough. It hasn't dimmed the enthusiasm of the Patriot fans. They've enjoyed tonight. They're up 23-6, although it is shrinking the crowd. Folks heading for the parking lot with only 8:27 to go in the ballgame. The Giants have a new quarterback, Michigan State's Ryan Van Dyke, who was a free agent signee with Seattle a year ago. And Van Dyke is picked off, intercepted by Leonard Myers. And that's not the way to start for Ryan Van Dyke.
Leonard Myers played that beautifully, Joe.
But that's the way they teach it, don't they, Paul?
Oh, man. Watch this. Watch Leonard Myers, number 25, just step in on the right-hand side of your screen. Look at this. Perfect. Bang. That was easy.
Patriots defense is taking the ball away from the Giants again. They'll set up shop at the New York 38-yard line, and Cliff Kingsbury, the rookie quarterback from Texas Tech, is on to run the ball club. Moreau and Mallon are now the running backs. Moreau, 43, will get the carry. Join us for a full night of football Monday on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern, our preseason continues. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles go to New Orleans to battle Aaron Brooks and the New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans, one of the few teams, the only team last year to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice. Bucs had a 12-4 record, beat them in overtime one time.
And they were very physical with them.
And they ran the football at them.
And here's jumping offside, Spencer Need. He who dropped the touchdown
49,
pass.
offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Spencer not doing himself any good right now.
NFC South being very competitive. Brad Johnson, Pro Bowl and Super Bowl champ. Michael Vick, I think, is going to have, as he grows and learns how to throw the football more effectively, he's going to be an unbelievable force. Aaron Brooks, I think this is a critical year for him. Coming off of surgery. And then you got Rodney Peete and Jake Delhomme. I think Jake Delhomme's a kid that can play. And, of course, Rodney is he's like a Jason Garrett for the Giants. You got to have him around because he's a solid guy and makes plays for you.
Every year we went to New Orleans, they said Jake Delhomme has the talent to start in this league. Unfortunately for him, he had to leave New Orleans to maybe have an opportunity to start somewhere else.
Now, John Fox has given him a chance there in Carolina. Yep. And, you know, people forget. The Carolina Panthers had the #4 ranked defense in football. I mean, what happened on the offensive side of the ball really has taken away from what John Fox has accomplished there.
You're right.
Now they need to find a quarterback to build the future around.
You just went right on by on Michael Vick.
Hold on. That's because he goes by everybody.
Well, yeah, I'm going to tell you what. Now, that man is exciting. He is really an exciting football player.
Giants have to take a timeout on defense.
I think he's the single biggest threat individually in the National Football League. Not because of his running ability, but I think he can throw the ball very well.
Patriots on top 23-6, fourth quarter with only 7:18 to go.
You know, this really is a time in the game when the Patriots must be able to run the football, Joe, to protect the lead, something they didn't do, and also in bad weather at the end of the year to be able to run the football at this time of the ball game.
And also, Paul, because you want them to keep the clock moving.
Yes, I do.
Kingsbury with a little swing pass. And Mallon, the converted tailback, picks up a few yards. Here's what the Giants will face in the first 4 weeks of action. Tough way to start against St. Louis, then 2 divisional rivals, a bye, and then Miami. So they get 3 of their first 4 at home.
That's nice to have a bye before you play Miami.
Well, and also Jim Fossil breaks the season down into quarters. And he feels like you've got to win each quarter. You do that. I mean, if you go 3-1 in every quarter, you're going to wind up, 12-4 as at the end of the season. That's the way he approaches it. He doesn't like his team to look at the entire year. He says it's too long and tedious.
Kingsbury had that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
And we were talking about Kingsbury. Kid threw 95 touchdown passes in college.
He has a lot of talent, but he played in what could only be described as sort of an odd system at Texas Tech, and he was tremendously successful in it, but can it translate? Can he learn the things like ball handling and play action that are going to have to go along with playing in the NFL?
I believe he can, and the one statistic that you saw come up just a second ago, 65.4% completion percentage. I believe no matter what system you play in, if you're completing passes, then you can translate that to the National Football League, because I think one of the key elements to play quarterback at this level is accuracy and ability to complete passes.
Well, when is he going to get the opportunity to practice these, Joe? If he's with this team and they keep him on the taxi squad, or whatever you want to call these guys, and he is the 4th guy down there, all right? And if the only thing that he's ever going to do in practice is run the other team's offense.
Still going to throw, and I'll tell you, the guy that we just showed a picture of, Tom Brady, a couple years ago, he was the 4th quarterback here.
I understand.
So, but how do you get your chance? You get it in preseason, you get it in mini camps, you get it really in times when the games aren't played. That's when you get your chance to throw.
Empty backfield, blitz coming, and Kingsbury never had a chance. As Nick Grayson, who has had a very good game, and they think has a future as a middle linebacker on this team. Right now playing behind Mike Barrow, he got in on that stuff.
Well, one of the things you learn as a quarterback when you come up to the line of scrimmage is that you look and see that big guy coming at you. Well, you got to know that he's coming, and you got to get rid of the ball now or get out of it.
He timed that very well.
Or stop your cadence.
That's right. Get out of it.
I mean, a more veteran quarterback probably sees him step up, stops his cadence, let him make the move, get him offside.
Vinatieri's had a busy night, 3 for 3. Will try one from 46 yards. One of the most reliable kickers and clutch kickers around knocks another one through.
I love to watch Vinatieri kick the ball because it's so quick. You really don't have much of a chance to block it. That ball is popped as soon as he takes that step. And he is probably the best kicker in football right now.
He's 4 for 4 tonight, and the lead grows to 26-6.
You're going to get a Lindo Mare mad at you now down in Miami.
I don't care.
And about 3 or 4 other guys.
Jason Elam.
Saturday, 2 teams will qualify to go to Williamsport when ESPN brings you a Little League World Series regional doubleheader. First at 6 Eastern at the Southeast Regional Final from St. Petersburg. Then at 8 o'clock, the Great Lakes Regional Final. That will be played in Indianapolis.
Let me ask you, when you do College World Series baseball?
Yes.
I know you love it.
Oh, dearly.
I mean, that is, I don't particularly watch baseball. But I'll tell you this, that is exciting watching those young kids.
Those guys play so hard, and most of them, after the College World Series is over, are going to be wearing company uniforms and picnic softball games. But they play like, I've got to make a memory it's going to last a lifetime, and they really do. A lot of guys will go on and be pros and great pros.
I think Harold and you and Joe and, the guys that I think you do a great job.
Thank you.
You're right, and there's some really young stars that come out of it.
Boy,
but I can't get used to the metal bat.
No,
Ding.
I will never get used to that sound. Plus, with that metal bat, you don't know if it's a tapper back to the pitcher or a 450-foot home run. There's no difference.
Would they go, Mike, would they ever consider going to wooden bats
No.
at the college level? Why?
Cost. You don't break aluminum bats. Aluminum bats last a long time.
Well, all they need to do is call Miami and ask them to change to another conference, and they can afford all the bats for baseball.
For sure. That's for sure. It'd be better for the long-range future of those kids as well. Darryl Jones on the return.
You know, when you're in a game with this situation, the way this score is here, it's 26-6. And I'm not talking, I'm talking about both sides of the New England and the Giants. The easiest way to get cut is to wait for this game to get over. And if you don't hustle now, when the things are bad, you are not going to be with this team. I'm not talking later, next week. You're gone.
Well, these are the guys out there right now. What did Jim Fossil call them? The hey you guys?
That's right.
You know, they're not draft choices. You're not familiar with the names. It's just hey you. You got to make plays right now.
This is an opportunity to catch a coach's eye, either through hustle, through extra effort, making a move outside, breaking a tackle,
recovering a fumble,
or fumbling,
or fumbling. And that was Delvin Joyce who coughed it up.
Now, you know, Delvin Joyce on this play, what he tries to do, Mike, is get an extra yard with his arm, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Especially in this weather.
Watch this. Now, here he goes to the outside. He's going to go down. Watch what he does here going down. Well, no, I'm sorry. That ball comes out. Excuse me, Delvin, but that ball came out. But he looked like, at the beginning, like he stuck his arm out. You have got to protect this football. It's raining. You're losing. You're trying to run the ball, and you can't.
And, Joe, you said catch the coach's eye. You saw Jim Fossil's eye, and you know where he was looking, too.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a happy man there. Because he really, when we talked to him yesterday, he really expected, I don't know about expected to win. Winning isn't important, but he expected a better performance by his entire football team. Better than he's getting tonight.
Winning isn't that important in preseason.
Right. Yeah. Excuse me, preseason.
A little option look there, and Mallon carries off the left side.
But it goes back to what we talked about last week. You know, how important are winning preseason football games for a veteran team like the New York Giants? It's really how well did your first unit perform? Well, they didn't really do too well. I mean, like Kiki said, they've got work to do. There's 3 more games to get ready for the regular season. But I think for New England, because they've got a lot of young guys playing, it's a very positive football game. They wind up with a win, but it's a positive evaluating process.
The game started on a bad note for the Giants on their opening possession. Tiki Barber on a running play fumbled. New England scored, and they've been in control ever since.
And the next series of downs, Kerry Collins throws an interception. And, you know, I think at the beginning of this game, the Pats started, I think, on their starting field position was on their own 19-yard line. Well, yeah, I don't care who you are. You're really not going to slow anybody down.
I'll go out on a limb right here and say Bill Belichick's defense will not be 31st against the run this year.
That's no limb.
Well, I'll tell you, but they're in a division. You got some pretty good running backs in this division. You've got Ricky Williams. You've got Travis Henry. I mean, there's some Curtis Martin. You got some pretty good running backs that you're going to be up against.
Incomplete diving try there by Tabiti Davis, who had a shot at it from Cliff Kingsbury.
I just don't believe he had to leave the ground for this. He tries to cradle this one and dives up in the air, and it just goes right through.
Kingsbury really put up some numbers at Texas Tech. He just had a sensational career there.
Senior year, 45 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. That's the other thing. He can protect the ball.
Yep.
And, you know, he's 67% completion percentage in his senior year.
He should be playing for somebody if he doesn't stick with this club. And they'll kill this one at the 5-yard line. Good special teams coverage. 35-yard kick, and it was Bethel Johnson using that speed to get downfield. And here are the defensive additions. Colvin, the free agent, Harrison, the free agent, Tyrone Poole, the free agent, all veterans, all tested. And then the rookies. Warren was impressive. Eugene Wilson made a play. Samuel made a couple, and Klecko made a half dozen.
And every one of these guys, and look at your draft choices, Tyler Warner, number 1. But all of these guys are going to make this football team and contribute to this football team. It's not just making a team. It's being able to contribute. And they've got Klecko. When I looked at him at the beginning, like yesterday, and they look at special teams, he's on every single one of them. So that means that he's going to contribute right at the beginning of the season for these guys.
Stackhouse and Delvin Joyce are the running backs, and Joyce, who fumbled last time out, gets up to the 10 and pushed back.
Bill Belichick has done a terrific job. They have 8 picks in the first 4 rounds, 2 1s, 2 2s, 1 3rd, 3 4s next year in the 2004 draft.
How good is that?
You know what? It gives them such flexibility. If they want to move to go up and get someone, they can. If they want to stay where they are. I mean, I think the only thing that you have to concern yourself with when you have that many picks that early is the economics. Can you sign Can you sign those 1s and 2s? Can you get them all in? They've done an excellent job. He and Scott Pioli, their director of player personnel, have done a terrific job of not only evaluating people but getting them in.
And Belichick's always been so thorough at scouting players. He wants to see film on these kids. He's not taking someone else's recommendation on whether this guy is going to fit with his football team. He wants to see it for himself. That's why he's been very good at picking players.
He's also said the last 2 years he's really been happy with their draft.
We have reached the 2-minute warning in New England. The Pats have been in control since the start. Stay tuned for Sports Center coming up next. Steve Levy and Linda Cohn take a look at Jeremy Shockey, Tom Brady of the Patriots, and we'll analyze Michael Vick's footwork as they try to get him to be more of a pocket passer this year. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Love him? No, he's not. And yes, his footwork is amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be the answer to those 3 questions.
I'm right with you.
Absolutely.
Analyze Vick's footwork. And you said yes?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
he has
did.
footwork.
Yes, he has great footwork.
Just yes? Just yes?
Be quiet, will you? Michael Strahan has great footwork.
But he got a bad pinky toe. Boy, does he hate that. Huh?
It's a bad hair day.
Bad hair
you have to go on a bare head night.
Not for him.
No, he never has a bad hair day.
Tiki Barber doesn't have a bad hair day. I was interested when Susie was talking to Tiki Barber, and he said he kind of slowed down, he pulled a hamstring. I wonder what that's like.
I don't know. Don't look at me.
Never pulled one.
I never went that fast.
I don't even think I have one.
Delvin Joyce swallowed up inside the 15-yard line.
One of the more unusual sights you'd see in this stadium is Mark Bavaro, the great tight end of the New York Giants, with a New England Patriot hat on. And Mark's moved his family back up to this area. Really didn't watch football much for 8 years. Then all of a sudden that kid named Jeremy Shockey wound up playing tight end in New York. And people kept asking him about him, so he said, well, why don't I start watching it? He's gotten a little more interested, and Bill Belichick has sort of brought him on. I guess you could, he shows up when he wants, but he's some of a semi-consultant to the tight end position here. Mark Bavaro in a New England Patriot hat.
He brings a silent presence.
Wow.
That's what he said. He doesn't. Wow. He never said a lot when he played. He's talking more right now. I'm serious. Look at him. He's talking more now than he ever talked the entire time he was with the Giants.
He and I talked about. He's in business with Phil McConkey. That's easy because McConkey never shuts up, and Mark doesn't have much to say. So it's got to be a perfectly balanced office.
We got that right here. You never shut up, and I just kind of sit around and listen to you.
Boy, did you set yourself up.
Oh, it's like a fastball.
Hey, let me put this up on the tee for you, huh?
I saw that one coming.
Let me set that up. Thank you, Paulo. I did talk, speaking of talking.
You know what? And the worst part about it, he's got a sore throat.
That's
really, I'll tell you, it's got to be all the way down to your shoes now.
I'm a little under the weather. A stuffy nose, a little cold, but I'm here. Never mind. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you what I talked to Bavaro about.
Forgive us. We are still a little punchy from Tokyo. Most of us are still on sushi time. Delvin Joyce across the 35 to about the 38-yard line. Approaching the 1-minute mark. You've got to say it was a very impressive opening night performance for the New England Patriots, especially the rookies and among the rookies, especially for Klecko. He was absolutely magnificent.
I thought Asante Samuels also had a good night.
The Giants, on the other hand, may have identified several areas where they need to work a little bit. And it won't be a very pleasant trip for Jim Fossil and the Giants back to New York, but Bill Belichick has to be pleased with what he has seen tonight. And there's a little smile popping out on the face of Bill Belichick. Giants won't try to run another play, and the Patriots in control from the opening turnover. They win it 26-6. For Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Susie Colbert, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick saying goodnight from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night, everybody.
ESPN, thank you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.